Hello and welcome back. Standard Super League. We are ready for match number 2. Now I gotta ask you, Brad. Are you team Ambush Viper or are you team Marsh Hulk?
I, this is over my head. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, see, my problem is like every player who started playing back in the '90s. I tried to make Poison work, so I feel like I'm team Marsh Viper, and I'm just torn. I don't know whether I'm supposed to root for Marshall or Gabby here.
Oh, we're talking about that match. Okay. Well, I'll never root for Marshall, so whoever he's playing against, that's who I'm rooting for. So,
What's the bad blood with Marshall? I didn't know
oh,
you were.
there's no bad blood. It's just you pick a side, right? Like,
I like it. So
yeah.
yeah, Ambush Viper is Gabby Sparks's chosen avatar, her spirit animal or some such. Sounds like you're on Team Gabby here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm also on Team Brad, but I don't like my chances this time around. The
Well,
the decks that
you don't have to play either of them for a little while. You're in the group of
yeah,
death, so
which is very deadly for me.
it's insane. You're the one with the number 5 in front of your name, though. Like they should be just
I
as scared of you, right?
right. Oh,
Number
right there.
7, right?
Oh, I see it.
Very nice. Yeah, the number
Wow,
5.
that's my number now. That is really high.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind that one. I broke the single digits. I didn't even know that.
Last Pro Tour. Where'd you finish
Yeah.
with? Sorry.
I scooped Nathan Holiday into platinum and finished X5.
Right. So I mean, even X5 is still 10 points, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. At that point, it was just icing. Like I needed, I didn't even know what I needed for Worlds, but I assumed that just placing with extra points would get me there. So
Yeah.
once I got to the point where 10-6 was my worst record, a lot of pressure was off. So
Sweet.
I did want my top 16, right? Because like Shouta did, just make Hall of Fame with a ton of top 16. So like I sat down and I really wanted it, but I'm not going to dream crush someone out of platinum.
Yeah.
So
Makes
yeah,
sense. And you will be playing Worlds in a couple of weeks. That's got to be
yeah.
exciting. Have you
It
gotten
it
to play
is.
one of the new Worlds as yet?
I have not. See, I won Player of the Year, and then the year after that, when I did terrible, that's when they made Worlds a thing. Like
Right.
Owen got in the next year off of Player of the Year, and ever since I've been sitting at silver and trying to grind Magic, and then finally hit gold last year, and then finally this is the year that I'm at Worlds, and I'm excited. I just hope that I get a crack at testing Modern Masters, because if I don't, then that's that is not 3 pro points for me.
Got it. You didn't play a lot of Modern Masters, didn't go to Vegas, right?
No, I didn't go to Vegas, and I drafted twice online. And one time I 3-0'd with like a red deck splashing black. That was insane. And then the second draft made me realize that I had no idea what I was doing. And there was like 12 different synergies in a schizophrenic deck. Like the format's really complex. And once you know it, I think you know it. But I have no idea yet.
Got it.
But I feel confident in Origins. Standard, I've got a couple things brewing. Couple
Nice.
things that the team isn't really it hasn't piqued their interest yet. But and then modern, I have no idea.
How many teammates do you have going to Worlds?
Well, that's just information I don't want to let anyone know in case there's some worlds opponents in here.
I guess I meant how many of the people you teamed with for the Pro Tour are qualified.
uh, Three.
It's a nice
Thanks.
number.
Yeah. No, yeah, we have four in the tournament, which is awesome, and it's really cool to work with a group of people that I get to work with on a weekly basis for this tournament, as opposed to not having any resources like a couple people will. So I'm really excited about the tournament. Like I've always wanted to play in it, and it was kind of a dream of mine, and I didn't know that there was going to be too many more like dreams I really needed to accomplish in Magic. But playing in Worlds every year, I watch every single minute of coverage, and sometimes I even watch the replays. Like I was really excited to qualify this year, and hopefully I don't embarrass myself because it's a lot of competition.
Now you've got a trip scheduled before then, right? Aren't you off to London like literally
Mm.
tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning I'm off to London, and Star City Games is hosting the tournament, and they're doing a versus video seminar. So Chris Van Meter, Brian Brown, Todd Anderson, Tom Ross, and I are going to be spending about 2 hours with anyone that wants to sit there and listen to us talk about standard and probably ban heroic, and Green Devotion. But outside of that, we'll be doing a meet and greet and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, I love that Star City gave us the opportunity to go over there and meet a lot of the fans. Also, we have shiny tokens. So, like, that's like right when they brought the idea of it to me, I was like, well, we get some of those tokens, right? Like, not just the people that sign up. Like, we get to take some home. So they said yes. And,
Cool.
but yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament.
Awesome. Well, meanwhile, we are now getting ready for Marshall Sutcliffe versus Gabby Sparks. We're probably about 2 minutes away from playing this game. I don't know if you've had a chance to check out the deck lists. Gabby has brought a Goblins deck to the table. Have you seen our list?
Ooh. I have not. I mostly focused on how horrific my match against Sam was, but
Okay.
Goblins is a pretty interesting one. As long as Marsh Hulk doesn't have any languish, then we should be good, right?
Yeah, I sounded like Marshall was doing a little bit of scouting too. He had Gabby on Abzan Aggro because that's what she's been playing on stream. That's what she's been playing. I guess she went to Star City Chicago. But yeah, she's mixed it up a little bit. I didn't know she was going to be on Goblins here, but there you go. The Glory Chasers, obviously the new addition to the deck. It's a pretty solid one drop, I would think.
Yeah, I love the combo of Subterranean Scout and Obelisk of Erd. Um, we actually tested this deck a lot, and there's a couple Nambos in the deck, but if it's unmolested, it just dominates the game.
I
And
mean,
you just need like 3 or 4 turns of them not mass removing your board, and then you just win. It is a very powerful deck, especially on the play.
and I feel like this is the deck people were expecting to come out of Red out of Origins because of Goblin Pile Driver, which still works with a Subterranean Scout even through Obelisk of Erd, right?
No, because it already has 3 power before once Obelisk is in play. It has too much power for the Scout.
Oh, Obelisk is +2/+2. I was thinking it was +1/+1,
Yeah.
of course. Eh, either one of them's good, right? Play the Scout first. Tap it for the Obelisk.
Marshall looks good.
Marshall, meanwhile, Esper Dragons. Relatively, I don't know, vanilla version of the archetype, I guess. He does have 2 copies of Languish and then 1 Crux of Fate. What he does not have are Drowning Sorrows.
Any Bioblights?
Let's see. Main deck has 2
Two.
Bioblights, 2 Foul Tongue, 2 Price, 3 Downfall is the removal suite.
Oh wow,
And
only 3 downfall.
yeah, and there's 2 Drowns in the sideboard, along with a Farika's Cure and Languish number 3.
Okay, wow, yeah. Like the languishes are going to be super important. Not having drown is a little scary, but when the obelisk happens, there's an opportunity to drown and then just pick off all the rest of the spells that goblins will have. But I've been actually testing a little bit of Esper Dragons, and the problem I've had with it is it still just has a lot of these like clunky draws. And it feels like a Delver deck that needs like 4 turns of setup as opposed to just one. Um, but if it has the correct cards for the matchup, it can win. And as you see, we have a Bile Blight.
Wow. Yeah, that Blight's definitely the card he wants to see in his opening hand, right? I mean, he basically kept Ashiok Blight in 5 lands.
Yeah, I mean that's the draw. Fully committed to the anti-Abzan aggro, even though he should know the matchup already.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't really mulligan many things. Also, not having a white source means that any top deck Ojutai isn't going to be able to like stabilize on the board.
How's Gabby's draw?
Gabby's draws look fine. I can't tell what that card is. Is that a scout?
I think that's a Pile Driver.
That's a pile driver. Okay, what pile driver is that? Is that the new pile driver? I see. I only know the onslaught pile driver. That's when I started playing Magic. Yeah, that's just a weird. I've never seen that one.
I
Yeah,
believe it's a promo of some sort.
yeah. I never know promos. Um, but yeah, this draw is great. Bioblight's going to end up taking out the pile driver. Gabby's going to have to be concerned about Languish, not wanting to get blown out here. But I think she has to put another creature on the board, which is probably the Scout, just because it deals more damage. And if you're investing a creature into a board, you might just not care if it gets languished. But yeah, I mean, she's going to have to be careful of mass removal. But as we can see, Marshall doesn't have any. And
Yeah.
she has drawn a lot of lands, and she will have to take a turn off to even play that obelisk. So that might become a very late game play. But this draw for Marshall looks extremely anemic, and he has like 1 turn of interaction. So we'll see if she just fully commits to the board.
It seems like it's the right play to just commit. I mean, Marshall's only got, she sees the list, he's only got 3 sweepers, and one of them is a 5 mana sweeper.
Well, I mean, I've seen Gabby play, and she thinks through a lot of her decisions. And one of the decisions she has to make right now is Marshall kept this hand. Like, he didn't mulligan. Like, this probably means he probably has something, not just a Bile Blight. And neither creature got countered, so she'll see the Bile Blight now because I don't think Marshall wants to take this amount of damage with Ashiok as his follow up. And then next turn, she'll be able to tap 2 of her leftover goblins, play the obelisk, still hit for 4, and put Marshall on a 1-turn clock. So Dig Through Time's not going to get him on this. He's just going to have to draw. I mean, I guess Ojutai might be able to stabilize if he draws that in 2 turns, but he might just need one of the Languishes. I guess a Bile Blight does help.
Helps. It doesn't, there's no 2-for-1 available to him now.
I mean, getting the goblins off the board is going to be important after next turn with the obelisk coming down.
Yeah, and she's a little flooded, right? She
Yeah.
didn't really want to draw 5 mountains.
I mean, here I'm pretty sure she has to just commit to this obelisk and let it get countered because it's not really going to help later. No Languish happened.
Sure. Language
So-
would have happened if Marshall had drawn one.
Yeah. Okay. So she's just not going to play into Dissolve, which is good. This is like one of those turns where you don't want to turn on the bad spells in your Esper Dragon's opponent's hand because if you turn them on, then that makes Dig Through Time a possibility through a polluted delta next turn, and she wouldn't get any damage in. So she just wants to keep dealing damage. Not using the Bile Blight is interesting. I guess there's no way he's going to beat. All right, so I'm just thinking there's no way he was going to beat an Outburst without holding the Bile Blight, but Ashak ticks up. I don't know what he hit, but if she stokes to the face, she's threatening almost lethal here, except for a counterspell. And she'll only have to tap 1 goblin to cast the obelisk, so I think that's the aggressive line she's going to take.
Yeah, Marshall no longer threatening Dissolve, so she can stoke. And yeah, no interest in Ashiok. Ashiok can just do his thing. Take base damage.
So this is an interesting one. She can choose, like, without Bile Blight last turn, she has to think that he doesn't have a spot removal. And if she decides that he doesn't, she might just slam the obelisk here. Or not obelisk, the Goblin Rabblemaster, because that's better to get countered than the obelisk probably. But I guess it's a good follow-up. I mean, it's weird because your opponent hasn't really done anything, so I don't really know the thought process I would be having in this situation. I would put my opponent on having some interaction with this obelisk. Oh wow, kept a mount. Oh, this is to play around a Scorn. That's smart. I usually just jam into Scorns.
Pay for it.
Yeah. All right, so this is big trouble for Marshall. The obelisk is in play. This means that every single goblin that she draws isn't just a 1/1, it is a lethal threat.
I like Tommy's line there. I mean, it seems like Silumgar's Scorn is one of the few cards Marshall could have there. He wouldn't really have had a chance to play it. So
yeah, and no white source means that. I mean, no white source could mean that your opponent has a dragon in hand too. Oh wow, the creature was a Goblin Rabblemaster. That's.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I have seen Ashiok Rabblmasters kill very quickly just because you're the deck with all these removal spells. But at the same time, those are 3/3s in play, and it's going to be a tough race, especially since until the Rabblemaster's off the board, those are stupid goblins that always attack even though they want to block. And so until he chump blocks with the Rabblemaster, which he can't with the Frenzy Goblin in play, she's not going to have to worry about her life total in any way for at least 3 turns because I've learned the Rabblemaster math, and it's just 1, 6, 8 dead. And so you have to, dead? Yeah, you have to eventually interact with it. So Rabble's in play. Gabby's thinking if she wants to play the Frenzy Goblin. And I think you do because that extra point is actually lethal. Or at least forces the Rabblemaster to block.
Meanwhile,
Uh,
Marshall's going to use his Bile Blight to take care of Rabble Master before Gabby can attack, right?
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a
It
4/4.
doesn't even kill it.
Yeah. All right, so we're still in main phase. Yeah, she was going to wait, and now she probably is going to play this Frenzied, forcing the Goblin Rabble Master to block. Because right now she has... No, I guess it'll become a 5. Because it's 3, 4, 5, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Rabble Master token comes into play.
Bile Blighting the Frenzied, I guess he really does want to block here.
What else could he kill?
I guess, yeah, it's a forced chump block anyway because he didn't kill the Rabble Master.
He can't kill the Rabble Master.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking?
Forced.
And it'll kill his because it's a Bile Blade. I'm not, I haven't commentated in a while.
Obelisk Bird doing some work here, for sure. Marshall down to 5. His Rabble Master is dead. Ashiok is kind of a spectator. This is definitely not the matchup where you want your Ashioks.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, this is just going to boil down to Languish or Bust. Because of the fetch lands, we do have a draw. No, we do not have a draw to dig Languish since the Ashiok's going to still be in play. So maybe he was supposed to play a fetch land there. So a dig isn't out. Dotsie's definitely isn't an out. Yeah.
That is not the draw phase he wanted.
This is always what happens when I play this deck. Like, I just get into a bad board position, and all of my cards are so situational that, I mean, you either just win so far ahead with an Ojutai. It's like the opposite of, like, the testing of control decks. You know, like the theory that, like, people play control because when they're testing or when they're ahead, they get to be ahead for so long that they feel good about it.
Yeah.
And losing doesn't matter because you lose right away. But, like, that's not this deck. This deck kills so quickly and then tries to stay alive for so long and never gets there. Like, it's Ugin or bust.
Yeah,
in those board
look at her
states.
hand to see if he gets any. I mean, I guess he gets a little bit of information about how she has chosen to play out this game.
Yeah, that's about it because he does have deck list. But I mean, Marshall loves his value. He's played. I think he's played a little too much limited in his life.
He's a never concede guy too.
Okay. I joined that school for a little bit, but I'll never concede in a situation where my opponent's decisions matter.
Yeah.
But, like, she actually just has Goblin Rabble Master in play. She can't make any more decisions.
She could have chosen to attack Ashiok. That is a thing.
Oh, that is true. She could have misclicked.
She attacks Ashiok, and the game's not actually over. But yeah, Gabby wins game 1, and we get to go to sideboarding. Now, the sideboarding, what happens in sideboarding? It seems like Marshall's deck is the one that gets significantly upgraded here, right?
All right, are we going to take a look at that, or should I go pull that up?
I think we can. Yeah, we'll get a couple seconds to get our hand cams work. Seems like all of our technical issues are now gone. We're able to get everything on the screen, so we'll take this opportunity to set things up.
I mean, I did tell you that once I'm on camera, everything's going to work because I'm just so lucky.
Yes, you told me you're lucky. You're inherently lucky, so all this problems go away. I appreciate that.
She will not be boarding.
No, none of those cards look relevant. What is Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Hillcutter's an instant speed way to keep from Languishes, but Marshall's going to be the one that's going to be sideboarding here. So Ashiok and Ugin are going to have to go. Thoughtseize is actually pretty good against goblins because they don't have a ton of reach, whereas like cards like Dissolve and Hero's Downfall tend to be far too expensive. And Foul Tongue is like this weird card that you want to play, but like it's embarrassing to all these cards. So, I mean, he does have 2 Drowns and a Languish. Taziger will probably come in. The Cure will come in. All the dragons are probably coming in.
Pretty massive sideboard then. What are you taking out?
You're taking out your Ashiok, your Ugin, your Downfalls, maybe some of your Foul Tongues. No, like Thoughtseize is bad against like the other versions of Red with all the burn, but this is a version where you can take one of the most powerful synergistic cards out of a Goblin's hand and leave them with a bad draw. So I actually don't think that Thoughtseize is that bad in the matchup. Maybe you don't want all of them, but I don't mind drawing one.
Is that Jace in from the sideboard?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have cards to interact with your opponent and you don't want like the expensive ones, at least Jace is going to be able to flip. It works really with Language. She doesn't have a lot of the fast removal spells. And this is a particularly slow draw, but I would have kept it at the same time. But yeah, Jace on the play can be pretty good since this isn't the normal red decks. This is you have to look at goblins as just like you could make the cards green and white, right? Like it wouldn't matter. Like they're it doesn't feel like a red deck. It's just a lot of burn, or it's just a lot of creatures.
Okay.
And so like these Jaces aren't going to die.
I mean, maybe she'll bring She's got Searing Blood in the sideboard, but I wouldn't have brought it if I was her.
Yeah, that's like a guessing game. Like I think on the draw you can usually put your opponent on bringing in the Jaces, and on the play maybe they ignore them. But then again, like I don't know if you really want to bring in cards like that because it cuts your own synergy. And if he doesn't bring it in or never draws one, you're just stuck with this card rot in your hand until the inevitable happens. This is just a rabble. I think it's just a rabble master let it die situation. I mean, maybe she'll just play the outburst and set up for the next turn. But you have so many. Whenever I have 3 of the same card and 1 of a unique card, I always like just play the one that I have 3 of so that I have options later in the game. Because like you never know what your opponent's going to have on this turn. Now, Rebel Masters are just better to chain them off of each other. Now, what just happened? Oh yeah, it's pro blue. I was like why did he tap first? But yeah, it's pro blue. So down goes that, and all right, there's a languish.
Wow, that was a nice draw.
Yeah, this is going to be tough because Jace is going to flip next turn, then being invulnerable to the languish. Languish is going to happen. So next turn, if Gabby jams on Obelisk, she has a pretty good chance of just winning this game. And she should just jam on it. Like, oh yeah, Marshall's not even keeping up double blue. Like he should have biobladed or kept up double blue, but not do both of them because now the Obelisk wins the game. So it's like rabble after rabble after rabble. All right, Jace number 2 is going to hit the yard. They're just so hateful twins. And bioblade's going to happen. Little too late. And now these Rabble Masters are just going to eat Marshall alive. Even with a Jace. Like, Jace is going to flip tick up. Yeah.
Jace is 5 cards to flip, right?
Oh, there's a counter, but there's no dragon. See, this is why I just dislike Esper Dragons, even though I want to play with it. Like, I don't go to FNM that often, but whenever I go to FNM, I play a control deck because I never get to play them in real tournaments. And so I like to have fun with them, but then they always frustrate me because of things like this. Like your counterspell doesn't counter something, your wrath doesn't wrath anything. You have this extra Jace in your hand that's gonna not do anything. It's gonna play it, but
you can have one of each.
You can have one of each, but like then that one's gonna get languished. Ooh. I don't think that's the play. I think it's just rabble.
Makes sense.
But she did bring the hill cutters in as instant speed threats, which is nice. Like it's not going to help her against defensive Ojutai, but it'll help her against the Dragonlord Slumgars.
Man, 3/3 tokens, hasty goblins being spit off by that Rabble Master. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean it was just a mistake. You hate to see it happen when he didn't bioblade her 3 lands away.
Well, he was setting up for a languish. Is the bioblade so obvious? You don't know she's got an obelisk.
That's true, but her deck plays 4 and it's her premium spell. So like that's the card that you have to be concerned about.
But especially with languish. Don't you want to get more for your languish than just 1 Hordling Outburst?
I mean, you can just bioblade the outburst and get 2 more cards later because you have a Jason play.
Okay, that I'll buy.
Yeah. Well, if you have no answer to an obelisk, you have to fight that obelisk. Like, it's so difficult for that card to get in play when she has no resources. But if she has any resources to get in play, and he's not even showing double blue up, like if you look at how this game's playing out, the card is just annihilating him. So here the big decision if she plays around Slumgar's Corner or not. If I was her, I wouldn't.
You would just go 6th land, 2nd Rabble Master?
No, I would play the heel cutter.
Heel cutter, sure.
Yeah, and just keep getting damage in. Like we're in a tough spot where, uh, like Languish still can be a potential blowout, and then that Jace flips. But it's nice that the second Rabble Master or third Rabble Master is going to be able to come down and force the Jace down to 3. But this is going to get picked off by Slumgar Scorn, and if Marshall's going to be able to flip and Languish and hopefully find something in the next 2 cards.
There is Silumgar Scorn. No dragon, but she tapped out for the heel cutter. She agreed with you that it made sense to do there.
Yeah, and now you put your opponent down to, like, if she didn't do that, then he just gets to loot away the Slumgar Scorn anyway. And so you just kind of want to jam into it. And if you always want to keep your opponent on low resources. Whoa, okay, yeah. I was making sure that for a second I thought it wasn't active, but
yeah, block flip.
Ooh, this
so
is...
he only takes 3 damage there. Now he gets to Languish. So down goes Rabble Master and both tokens. Wow, and now Marshall top decked an ultimate price. He's right in this game.
Yeah, that's going to keep that Rabble Master down. Now this Jace, as long as it keeps getting loyalty, it's going to be able to be additional removal spells. So what Marshall has access to is probably the next 4 draw steps of Gabby's.
Yeah, she goes Rabble Master. She's gonna. I'm sure it's gonna die. But now she top decked right back. Basically, he top decks ultimate price to kill the Rabble Master, but she top decked Hordling out first, which is 9 power worth of guys
that still fall to the Bile Blight in Marshall's graveyard.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. That Jace guy's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah. So if Marshall just bricks for the next like 2 turns, she has a chance, but with Jason play, that's going to be able to continuously tick up and down and eat his graveyard while trying to find an Ojutai or a dig. And Gabby is forced to draw something for the next 3 or 4 turns just to fight the removal that Jace and draw steps are going to cause. So I think this game is going to end up going to Marshall unless he doesn't find a win condition in the next like 5 turns. Because Jace has a lot of potential at killing like 3 to 4 draw steps in situations like this, but it doesn't win the game. And I've been in situations like this with multiple decks, and yeah, playing around Thoughtseize, no point in not just putting it into play.
Sure. Hall of Triumph gets things even bigger.
Yeah.
It actually seems kind of relevant with Bile Blight and Languish as Marshall's premium removal.
Yep. And now without the Hero's Downfall, all right, well, that kills Jace, which is very good. Because the Jace is almost the most relevant thing that Marshall could be doing besides an Ojutai. And, yeah, I mean, she should kill this Jace. Like, the Jace is, like, 3 of her threats. Like, it's going to tick down and Languish something, and then if it gets... Okay.
No, she's going upkeep, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got a counter spell. She's going to make him spend a mana during his upkeep.
Yeah, to fade any top decked Ojutai draws.
Down goes Jace. Jace is in from the sideboard. It looks pretty good here.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's our 4/4 Founder Street Denizen. That's going to eat one of the 2 removal spells, but she's drawing her worst cards, and he's got to react to with his best cards in these situations. Which
he has to kill every single creature she plays at this point.
Yes.
They're all +3/+3.
And now he can block them, though.
That helps.
Yeah.
Silumgar, the Drifting Death. Oh, now they're +5.
Well, now Slumgar doesn't block.
She just needs creatures.
Yeah, she has a lot of draws to them. It's funny because I mean, he has to start attacking.
Yep. I mean, making the game go longer doesn't help Marshall. Valentine Invocation is pretty good there.
Her best draws are her token generators, like that. This is going to get Crux, but it leaves her open to any fodders or outburst in future draws, which she has like 6 now.
And Silumgar will, of course, survive the Crux of Fate.
Or the Languish. Oh, no. Yeah, the
Languish
is dead now, yeah.
Languish
That's so
is
funny.
just blank.
Yeah.
2BB have no impact on the game.
Oh, no, it does. It does, because he can Languish right now and then attack with Silumgar, right? Because they're 5/5s?
The plus 5.
Or are they 6/6s? They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/6s. So yeah, that doesn't work. All right. Put 2 6/6s into play.
What? 2 6/6s?
For 2 mana, Wizard
That's
sure knows how to print
insane.
some cards.
This game's awesome. Yeah, Falton gained some life.
We've got the combo. So if I was Marshall here, I would definitely just attack, take 6 damage, wait for 1 more resource from Gabby, and then 2 for 1-er. But I would not 2 for 1 in this situation. It is. Glory will not be chased today.
She has to just add it to the board, right? She can't.
Well, of course, yeah.
Drown plus Languish. Well, Marshall's actually going to win this game, isn't he?
It's not over yet. Her top decks are real. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, here he has the option of taking the Glory Chaser. It's difficult to pull the trigger on Drown and Languish in case like she draws like an outburst.
Sure.
But she only has 2 left and 3 fodders, and 1 Rabble. Like, so it looks to me like he might pull the trigger on the double.
Turns, though. Like, he's got her to 5 now.
Yeah, but if he just plays the Slumgar and chumps, then she's dead. So
right. That's what I mean. I don't think he has all that much to worry about here, is my point.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not going to threaten lethal next turn.
But will the following turn? Yeah. I wanted just some gigantic hill cutter to win the game. That's what I was looking for. Just a hill cutter off the top would have dropped him to chump block mode. And then a second, and then he'd have to keep back his drifting death.
All right. Well, we are on to game 3.
Yeah, I mean,
Sutcliffe got there. He drew a lot of removal, and the Jace looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's all this deck is going to be after sideboard is he elected to not have the Thought Seizes where the games can go long, but I think on the draw I would like to have some Thought Seizes because you just need that early interaction. And if you just have a tap land draw, like you just need some way to interact on that second turn, or a Goblin deck can get really under you. And if you don't have one of your Languish, the game is over. But I guess with 2 Drowns, he just has so many ways to Wrath. It's quite interesting because I guess 4 Foul Tongues is why he thought, and I guess the 3rd Languish is why he thought she was going to be on Abzan Aggro. Because that is not normal with this deck.
He definitely thought that she would be on Abzan Aggro, and I guess he said Kenji's been testing a lot of Rally.
And what is Kenji playing?
Kenji's not playing Rally. What is Kenji playing? Yeah, I know Marshall got them both wrong.
Oh, I didn't even metagame. I just played one of my favorite decks.
Kenji's on White Green Megamorph. He's on the Kibler deck.
Oh, okay. All right, so I think it looks like we have this mulligan with blue-white mana in a blue-black deck.
Ooh, blue-white, Foul Tongue, Hero's Downfall.
Lucky. Is that an Opulent Palace?
It is.
The 9th tap land for blue-black. Interesting. All right, well, if she draws a land, she gets Obelisk into play right away, and then she just runs away with this game.
Followed by Swamp.
Yeah, followed by 2 black. Yeah. Marshall's running good. Mountain. All right, well, she has to fodder here.
And just hope there's no sweeper?
And hope there's no Drown or Bile, yeah. Like, you can't play Goblins passive.
Sounds right.
All right, drops into 13. He gets lucky and draws the Languish.
What? What just happened?
Well, Marshall is getting incredibly lucky. That's what's happening.
True story.
So what? I guess, what would that be? That'd be 10 damage. So theoretically, if she draws a land and plays a Hall and he doesn't chump block, then he is dead. So that's going to happen. So let's hope it's a Hall. Don't play that Outburst. Can I call her? Also, this is oh no, don't tap the Foundry, because what about Bioblade? Gotta play around Bioblade. I guess Marshall would have learned his lesson and played around Bioblade.
All right, well, Obelisk Avert is in play.
Yeah, and this should be game over too, because there's no way that this Jace is, Jace is just going to have to run in front of one of these. Discard the Downfall. Languish is going to come down. And Rabblemaster probably follows, dealing 3.
Obelisk Avert versus the Sorcery Speed Removal. Seems like it's earning its keep, shall we say.
Yeah, and there's so many top decks that Gabby has to just like blow this game out. A second dig is going to be worthless. And yeah, so he's got 4 in the yard. So like, I guess this has to be an ultimate price turn, but then he can foul tongue dig, but that's not enough. So here's a Hall.
Yeah.
I like this. I like the Hall. It deals an extra point of damage through the Goblin token, and then play the Frenzied Goblin. And that'll be lethal unless Marshall draws a fetch land or an additional land to be able to dig before the foul tongue.
All right, so the Goblin ship's over for 4. Ultimate price meant Rabblemaster doesn't spit off any more tokens, but that 1 token is doing a lot of good work. Frenzied Goblin, now it's a pair of 4/4s.
Ooh, that's good.
But can block a 4/4.
No, doesn't work because no gain life means that Frenzied stays in play and forces it to not block.
Tassiger's not blocking Frenzied Goblin. That is a true story. So he's dead, right? He can foul Tassiger, but she presumably will hold on to Frenzied Goblin.
Yeah, he needed an untapped land so he could dig into a dragon and then Frenzied to stay at 3 life. But without access to that, he has no play. There's not even I guess he could dig into land dragon. So that's his play.
Dig into land dragon?
Yeah.
You would not foul tongue plus Tassiger cross your fingers and hope she screws up Frenzied Goblin?
I would put some of my opponents on that, but I wouldn't put Gabby on that. I mean, I only make plays like that when I have no other options.
Right, and the dig, he has to pay 3 for dig?
Yes, right? So yeah, he needs dig to hit land dragon, and then rip a Languish and probably find some kind of unicorn in his deck. But at this point, he's drawing completely slim. So tick tock, concede. This is actually a really common one. I mean, he needs an untapped land and one of his 6 dragons. So, no.
Frux, Downfall, ultimate price, but no dragons amongst the 7 cards Marshall's looking at.
I didn't even want that information because I just love when I'm playing Magic Online and my opponent's digging and then they just concede with dig on the stack. It's one of my best feelings of Magic. Like, I hate control decks and I only play them when I have to. And like when they're too good not to play.
Sure.
But whenever my opponent's digging, because right when dig came out, we all thought it was Sphinx's Revelation. You know, every time they dig, you just put your hands in your head. You're like, oh, this is miserable. I'm going to lose now. And it's not. It's not even close.
There's the untapped land.
See, here he should just foul tongue and say, I misclicked, and so she doesn't get the credit. Oh, it doesn't even matter. has the additional
Heel
threat.
cutter. Love it.
Heel cutter crippling Marshall's chances at winning the Super League.
All right. Marshall's not out of it now. He's still got a chance to get top 2, but Gabby, with that win, that's big. Clearly controls her own destiny at this point. So Gabby Sparks defeats Marshall Sutcliffe. That is match number 2.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go play now.
I was hoping you didn't say that. I don't like my matchup against Sam. It's not good.
Well, we certainly enjoyed hearing you commentate. This was good stuff.
Thanks. I mean, I got the Bile Blight Obelisk wrong for a while, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it was.
I'll give myself a B minus.
B minus. I will give you a little better than that. This was good
All
time.
right.
We're going to take a real quick break. We're going to let Brad go get ready for his match. We will swap in both Marshall and Gabby. We'll let them decompress about their match for all of you guys. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey there, welcome back to the Standard Super League. You monster, Gabby. How dare you attack me with 100 small goblins?
The goblins get there.
Man, that last turn was kind of sick, too. I had a tough choice. I decided to try to go big. I had Foul Tongue in my hand.
Yeah.
So I tried to find a goblin, or a dragon, a goblin. I
A
blame you
dragon
for this.
you would live for the
A
attack.
dragon, and I need an untapped land, too. And then I can, like, survive a little bit. Otherwise, I could have played Tassiger and...
So did you have the Foul Tongue?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking for dragon untapped land.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also had Tassiger, so I could play Tassiger, and then like you go to attacks, and then my Tassiger can't block.
Right.
Or I can kill your guy first, but then you sack the goblin, and my Tassiger can't block. So
Right.
yeah, that was sweet though.
I
Your
don't think
deck's
you had
good.
an out at that point. I guess if you do find like the land, the dragon, and the Slumgar or the.
I mean, I ended up dying to the heel cutter, but I obviously didn't know about
But
that.
I drew the heel cutter that turn. So
Yeah,
at that point you
yeah.
didn't know about that.
Anyway, that was sweet. So that was our first match,
Yeah.
and it was fun. At least one of the games was fun. And so we're going to be watching Sam Black play against Brad Nelson. So I brought up their deck list here,
Yeah.
and let's see. So up on screen you can see Sam's deck here. He's playing Abzan Aggro now. Gabby, this is a deck that you're quite a professional with as well.
Yeah,
What do you make of? This is what I thought you would be playing. I'm like, oh, I know.
That's
I'll
what I
get
thought
her.
everybody thought I was going to be playing.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to play it.
Yeah, you curveballed us. So what do you make of this list? Is this a pretty standard Abzan Aggro list for Sam? I mean, he is a brewer.
Playing some heralds, which aren't necessarily standard to the list.
Mhm.
Everything else looks pretty normal. There's some Sorens. Oh wait, I navigated away. There's some Sorens, which some of the decks, like he kind of goes in and out of favor depending on how the metagame is. So
Okay.
having two is pretty noteworthy, I would say. And it seems to go lower to the ground. It's playing Wardens, so this one's trying to go a little bit faster. It's the same thing with Herald, so you can tell this deck is just trying to go pretty fast.
I wish you would have played this deck. I think I would have had a much better chance. Why don't we take a look at Brad Nelson's deck? This is, of course, his opponent this round. And Brad's playing Green-White Devotion, and this is a little bit of a throwback. We've been seeing it pop up more and more, but, I mean, you see it right there in the middle, 4 Master of the Unseen. So this thing's looking to pump out just obscene amounts of mana and go off with Mastery or even just, the normal stuff, Whisperwood, Pelucranos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. In my experience, this matchup is tough for Sam.
So if you sit down and your opponent's like turn 2 Mastery, you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, just with Devotion in general, you're kind of like, because they have so many good threats against you, you're so good at, like, Whisperwood is really tough for you to deal with.
Okay.
Mastery can be such a problem. Like the game, if the game goes that long, you're probably not going to win. Raptor is a problem.
What do the games look like where you do win as the Abzan Aggro player?
You get off the gates pretty fast. You have some disruption for them. You can kill them before they start recurring. If they start recurring any of the stuff, like Death Protector, Death Misraptor is always a problem for this deck, for Abzan Aggro. They get so much value out of them.
Everything up on the go.
You run out of gas.
Yeah, that just seems like a nightmare for that.
It's not fun.
Now, he does have, what's it called, Dromica's Command to take down the Mastery of the Unseen in the main deck. So, he can shut off that answer or that problem pretty reasonably. But yeah, like you said, 4 Den Protector, 4 Death Misraptor, 3 Courser of Crewfix, and he can cast any of those on turn 2 with the Elvish Mystic. So the ground will not be clear for Sam Black. He is going to have to trudge through a bit of creatures. So you're thinking Brad's probably favored here?
I would say he's favored. I feel like a lot of times in this matchup, if they go Elvish Mystic, turn 3 Raptor, if you don't have Abzan Charm, you're in really big trouble.
Okay. Yeah, we're still looking at Brad's deck here, but it seems super well positioned for the matchup. I don't know how well positioned is in general. I mean, it seems pretty good. Like, looking at this deck, it doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, right? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely the deck to beat at, like, going into the Pro Tour. So I think it's still really well positioned. I think it's really good. Got Evolutionary Leap, that's pretty good against, because it's one really, really, really bad matchup is Control. Evolutionary Leap is great for that. Mastery of the Unseen is also great for that.
Yeah, this thing looks nasty. I mean, it's like, it's got the mid-range drops, right? Like you can do the whole like Death Mist Raptor Den Protector thing, but then it just has like that ridiculous late game with Master of the Unseen,
Yeah.
you know, plus Nykthos, right? Like that's like Master of the Unseen, some people play it when they just use it as like a late game card, but you don't see it that often. But with Nykthos going, it's stupid. I mean, that card is
Right.
just dumb. What if you were going to play against this deck with your Goblins deck? Is this a deck that you'd be afraid of, or are you like?
So I tested against this matchup a little bit. It's not great. You have to go really, really fast against them. If they are ever able to get anything out, like pretty quickly. This list isn't running. I don't see Dragon Lord Atarka.
Oh yeah, good point.
That's a problem because usually you don't have like you're trying to go like turn 1 goblin, turn 2 2 goblins, turn 3 more goblins, obelisk. If you don't do that, a lot of times they're just like Pelucranos, untap, Nykthos, kill your board. You can't win.
And then you just can never come back.
And you just can never win. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the difference, right? Is that they're able to pressure you, right? They can wipe your board with Pelucranos and then hit you for 8 or whatever it is, and now you're on like a savage clock.
Yeah, I actually have a Rogue's Passage in my sideboard for this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you just, they're so good at just kind of putting these creatures that are difficult to attack through. Death Mist Raptor is tough, Course of Proof is tough. And sometimes what you have to do is have a Rogue's Passage and have a Goblin Pile Driver and suicide your whole board in to send the Pile Driver in. And like that's how you're going to win.
And you just have to get like 1 or 2 really big hits with the Pile Driver?
Right, you have to get in like 1 huge hit and hope that you got some early damage in.
That does not sound like a fun game plan, although
No, not really.
I suppose it could work.
Goblins are okay running into things and dying often. They don't have a lot of feelings. They're okay with it.
Wouldn't mind taking another look at Sam's deck list here too. We've spent a little more time on Brad, but Sam has clearly made a few tweaks here. You mentioned the Sorens. What role do those play in this deck? Like what are they doing?
They're really good in the mirror. And so I don't know if this is something that Sam was thinking about at all. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is, especially if you're on the play, you'll play all your creatures, they play theirs, you play Soren. Their creatures can no longer block yours. The life point swing is insane. And a lot of times they don't really have a lot of time to be going after Soren. So it's like, well, your rhinos don't really block my rhinos anymore. All your creatures don't really block my creatures profitably anymore. So it's very good in that. Sometimes it just stands behind a wall of rhinos and it's like making vampires and slowly chipping away like that. It's pretty good against any red decks, obviously.
Because you can still get some type of board presence and then just slam Soren, give everybody lifelink.
Just
and
try to stabilize a little bit, and if you get to the point where you stonewall them and then you play Soren, gain a bunch of life, then you're in great shape.
I wonder why Sam chose this deck.
I'm not sure. It's really fun. I enjoy playing this deck a lot. I played it like
you've played it a heck of a lot, right? Like you played it at Star City and at the GP also, right?
Yeah, but at Star City I played a control version of it. So it was the
more. Oh, it wasn't aggro. Oh, okay.
Go big into Elspeth, go into Planeswalkers sort of build. It was when Standard had just rotated, so the list didn't look stock, and it was just a list that was definitely more controlling and was trying to go bigger. And then I played that list for a little bit longer, and then eventually I just moved into aggro, and I've been playing that for a while. I thought you were going to do Black Dragons.
All right, well, it looks like we're ready to go down to the feature match here. So why don't we jump down and take a look at Brad Nelson versus Sam Black. Hey, or you can take a look at us for a minute. We'll be down there in just a moment here. And it looks like we got the hand cams fixed as well, so this should be fun. Great. Yeah, this should be fun. I've done a bunch of commentary on matches on Magic Online at Magic Online Championships and stuff, but I haven't ever done it on Standard Super League, so this should be fun.
Yeah, it's really exciting. That's super awesome.
We get the perfect view of their hands too, which I'm definitely not used to. Like, the GPs.
Like, well, it kind of looks like they drew this card. I'm not 100% sure.
The card he drew definitely resembled Soren.
So you have a really good start for Sam right here.
Wow, 1 into 2. Is this the ideal start for Sam?
Yeah, this is like your dream start. This is very, very good.
All right, so Sam's got Warden right into Fleece Mainline. And all of a sudden, Brad Nelson, who's on the draw here, is way behind.
Yeah, look at his hand. It's also pretty slow.
It is slow. Yeah, this is where, cards like Master of the Unseen look bad, right? Like, he's going to play it here. He could play one here. I guess he's just going to play Blossoming Sands instead, but it just doesn't do anything at this point in the game anyway. Wow. Sam Black is going to play on offensive this turn too.
This is brutal. I have a really hard time imagining Brad coming back from this because, I mean,
he gets to play Death Mist Raptor. Does that help?
does.
I mean, is that going to get him out?
You know, Sam might be okay just trading one of his creatures to fight here. It is kind of unfortunate that they're going to die. If he draws Abzan Charm, it will be unreal.
Does he have an untapped land? Wow. So he could go. Oh, he doesn't. He only has one white mana source, so he can't actually pump up. Oh no, he's got black. Yeah. So he can pump up the Warden. He can get in for 8 here if he wants to give up the Lion.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get in. He's just so much pressure. You have to beat him quickly.
Wow. Yeah, this Death Mist Raptor looks like it's a little scared getting trampled over by a bunch of creatures.
Going on the Lion.
Yeah.
Right, and then no matter where it blocks, this Raptor's about to die.
Raptor's gonna die, and it's minimum 7 damage. All right, so yeah, it looks like he wants to take care of the Lion before it can get to monstrous. That's going to pump up the.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's one of the ways that you can actually try to fight with all their. Oh my gosh!
How sick is this draw from Sam Black?
This is unreal. This is a dream start. It's so good.
I mean, he's got 2 cards left in his hand. He's just curved out perfectly here. He went 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, and he won. He got a turn 5 win. Unreal.
The other thing too is Anafenza is really important in the matchup.
Wow.
Because Anafenza, if you are able to kill the Raptor can't recur anymore.
Of course, because it prevents him from going to the graveyard. All right, so that's another one we'll have to keep an eye on.
Amazing.
Wow. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So that's an absolute priority for Brad to try to get rid of those.
Yeah, I think if Brad can stand some or get rid of them in some way, and he knows that Raptors are coming down at some point, it's a pretty big priority to make sure that it doesn't get exiled.
Dude, that was a sick start.
That was so fast.
Is that just a dream? Like, can you imagine a better start than that?
Yeah, no, it was great.
He used up literally every mana from turn 1 to turn 4, and he effectively killed his opponent on turn 5.
Especially because what happens with this deck a lot is you can't do that. You have too many tap lands. You have a 3-color mana base. Your mana base is really painful.
Of course.
You take a lot of damage from a lot of your lands. You sometimes play Mana Confluence. It's that bad. So you don't usually get to go, untap land turn 1, then untap land turn 2, play Lion. Untap land turn 3, play Anafenza, and then have 2 plays on turn 4.
I'm wondering, I wonder what Brad thinks about that start. Hey, he had 6 or 7 cards in his hand when he died, and he had a perfectly reasonable draw. Like, it wasn't a terrible draw. And he just got thumped. So the guys are going to go to sideboarding now. Was there anything that stood out? Oh, actually, it looks like they're ready to head down to the match. Let's just head right back down there for game number 2 here. All right, what are they working with? So, Gabby, how do you like the hand from Sam Black this time? It looks it looks pretty good, actually.
It is good, but it's still very good. It's not the dreams. It's not the god draw.
Right. Now, is he going to play a Warden here, or is he going to get that Temple out of his hand?
Probably. I'm guessing the Warden.
Yeah, it looks like he's decided to play it.
Yeah. Wow, Brad has Tragic Arrogance from the sideboard here.
Oh, sweet.
Yep, spicy.
Yeah, and he's going to start things off with the Sylvan Caryatid as well. This is going to incentivize Sam Black, who's drawn really well with his mana. He can now kind of ignore that Temple of Malady. He just hit a Urborg off the top there as well.
He's not worried about the top lands right now.
Yeah. I mean, if he hadn't have drawn the Urborg, it could have got a little awkward for him, but now he just gets to bash.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And now he just gets to go on Anafenza. Oh, yeah, well, the Raptor's not in play.
Yeah, Raptor is now in play, so you got to figure that Anafenza's got to be high on his list here.
Yeah, for sure. So here it comes down.
And he's just going to offer the trade here.
Yeah, he can safely attack here because Raptor's probably going to die. Like, if Brad's not going to block, I don't think.
Okay.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
He is considering it. Yeah, he's looking at his hand. I mean, if he blocks here, it's like he still gets to take down the Warden, right? I mean, we know that the Raptor isn't going to be in play anymore, or isn't going to be around as it's going to get exiled, but...
Wow, so 3 Raptors in hand for Brad means he really needs to get Anafenza off the board. Problem though is if he fights and puts a counter on it, they're both going to trade.
He might just have to do that if his long-term plan is to Tragic Arrogance here, right?
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, if he Tragic Arrogances and puts 2 or 3 Deathmist Raptors in his graveyard, like, he's got to be in good shape. He just any morph and he has, like, an instant board state back again.
I like how Brad is shuffling with the Raptors at the same. Still shuffling.
He's just waiting to see if Sam's going to block, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like he's going to use Dromica's command right now. He's going to take down the Warden of the First Tree and get pretty aggressive here because he can follow up with another Raptor. And, you know, even if Onofenza is somewhat mitigating their effect on the game, it looks like Brad's decided he's just going to be the aggressor here. I think Tragic Arrogance is now his backup plan.
I think that's what he's, the way he's playing, that's what he's indicating.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Raptor, it's difficult for Sam to deal with a Raptor, so he can just keep attacking, you know, like the Onofenza can block it for one turn.
Yeah, I think now Onofenza has to stay back, especially given that Sam Black's hand has really kind of fallen flat here. He's got 3 Dromica's commands, and he's facing down 2 Death Touchers and a Hexproof creature. It's like...
I don't love Dromica's command in this matchup, just because this can happen, right? What can Sam really do with his Dromica's commands? He doesn't have...
Nothing.
There's really nothing. The problem is with fighting Raptors is... It's bad value.
It's bad value. You know, the thing is, like, I'm sure he's aware, you know, of Master of the Unseen and needs every outlet he can to be able to deal with that. Because if these games get any you know, grindy at all, then Brad can just completely overpower him in the late game with the Master of the Unseen.
Right, for sure.
I mean, I'm assuming those stay in. I don't actually know.
So he fought the big Raptor.
Mm-hmm. So one Raptor got exiled, but Onofenza's down. The awkward part, of course, for Brad here is if Sam has another Onofenza in hand, it's like, oh no. This one's going to be played face down. What do you think about that, Gabby?
I think you can kind of assume that it's not Dun Protector.
Mm-hmm.
Because he would have left up 2 mana for Dun Protector.
Well, he has 2 mana up.
Oh yeah, sorry, he has carried right.
Mm-hmm. So if you're in Sam's seat...
Oh, I guess the Raptor's not in the bin, so it's not coming back anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he figures he's probably not going to play Tragic Arrogance next turn, and so he might as well just have a slightly bigger Raptor.
Yeah,
Ooh.
It seems like Brad is off the Arrogance plan for now.
Yeah. Whisper Dad off the top, though.
Have any creatures to kind of stop these Raptors from coming in. He can block here. He's taking so much damage for it, too.
He's got to take 2 pain to pump.
Yeah.
And this is a Raptor, too, so this is really going to get him.
This is actually going to get him really hard.
Yeah, because the Raptor's going to survive or trade. It's kind of up to Sam, but this is nice. I wonder if Brad just passes priority here.
I think. Oh wow.
He did. Yeah, he just passed priority. He's like, sure, because he's got a Whisper
Dad. The bin is completely fine with him.
Yeah.
You know? And then he just gets to follow up with Whisperwood, and Whisperwood, it doesn't look. Oh, he didn't do it.
What was that?
I'm not sure. I don't know why. I would think that he's been playing pretty aggressive and wants to play the Whisperwood.
What's the upside to not? Is he just trying to set up this Tragic Arrogance or something? That doesn't make any sense.
He's expecting Sam to play out his hand, and then he's going to get him with Tragic Arrogance. Like, he loses a carrot, but that's not a big loss.
Yeah, but I mean, in order for that plan to work, Sam has to play multiple threats in one turn, even though Sam has not been doing that.
Right. That's why I'm surprised to see the
I am too.
I'm not sure.
Just don't know if I could resist the urge to just slam.
Yeah, I just kind of want to play Whisper Dad Go.
Yeah. No, I don't know. That maybe we'll ask Brad about it. There's also the chance that it was like a misclick or something, right?
It's possible. Maybe he was F6.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird because I totally thought he was just going to windmill the Whisper Father there.
Yeah. How much mana did Sam have on top that turn? Maybe he was playing around removal spell.
He had 3, I think.
Maybe he thought it was a downfall. Maybe the way that Sam has been playing his hand, it kind of seems like he's leaving stuff up for spells, not creatures, because he hasn't been playing out creatures. So he might have thought that it was a downfall,
That's
and
true.
he just, plays Whisperwood. Whisperwood dies at the end of the turn. Sam untaps and plays Rhino. that can be a bad line for him.
Yeah, it's just like, but it just doesn't change. Like the Whisperwood's going to die at some point, right?
Sure. I mean, you're hoping to play it on the turn when Sam's probably tapped out. You're forcing, you kind of punish Sam if Sam was holding a removal spell.
You get the
then
full
they have
value,
to tap out for Rhino, and then you play your Whisperwood and make sure you get the manifest.
which is what happened here.
Yeah.
This actually worked out beautifully for Brad. So Sam blocked with Herald of Torment and decided to use his Valorous stance to trade with the Raptor. He gave his Torment indestructible.
Yeah.
And that just worked out beautifully for Brad because it cleared the way for the Whisperwood, and it means that it's not going to die to the
right. And then he
Valorous
just
stance.
making manifest here, and Sam doesn't have very good ways to deal with it.
No, and
Especially
Sam,
without any creatures in play.
yeah, I mean the problem here, of course, is that Sam also just doesn't have a reasonable. He can't race from this position at only 6 life and losing 1 per turn. I mean, he'd just be dead in a half a turn here. He's going to attack now. He's going to get in for 4 because he drew the Warden.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even play it. He plays it for green. He goes to 5. I guess he could, but he would have to chump.
Yeah, he'd
So
have to do that.
he's going to fight now with Dromoka's command.
You're just in a bad spot when you're
I mean, he's just going to fight with Dromoka's command. The problem here, of course, is that Brad just has another Whisperwood. Though the race does look better now. The Herald of Torment's now a 5/5.
Yeah.
So it actually got huge.
With Sam being at 4, though, that's kind of tough with the Herald.
He wins as the board sits, right?
Yeah.
He attacks for 5, goes down to 4. It gets turned back to him. He goes to 3. He chump blocks. And he takes 2 and goes to 1, and then he wins in the air.
So this is interesting because if Sam plays any other creatures, Brad can just get him with Tragic Arrogance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's super interesting. So Sam's on the line, though.
Yeah, he's just going for it.
I mean, this is the line. Like, this is what he should do.
Yeah, for sure.
He maybe even just fights the fights the Whisperwood here too.
Whisperwood. Not to die in the and hope that the manifest is nothing.
I mean, he can. I don't think he's going to put Brad on Tragic Arrogance, so he'll probably just play, the Lion or let's see, he has. God, his mana sucks here. He can play either the Lion or the Warden without taking damage here. He can't play both unless he wants to take a point.
This is exactly the problem with the Abzan Aggro mana base. Do you see how painful this is?
Yeah, and now he wants to play Dromoka's command. Yeah, this is. I think it's correct, right? So he's going to kill the Whisperwood here, put Brad to almost dead. But if he does, let's see. Yeah, he has to play a creature though. Because he's going to go to 1 on his upkeep, and if he takes 2 from the manifest, he's dead.
Yeah, this is going to work out terribly for Sam.
Yeah. Tragic Arrogance is just going to be perfect here.
Oh, it's going to be brutal.
So brutal. And he can't play the Lion here.
Play the Lion.
Which is actually better for him, but he's just going to be dead anyway, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was an Elvish Mystic that was the manifest. Wow, so Brad doesn't even need to show him the Arrogance there. He just gets to kill him.
Sideboard.
Woof.
Wow.
That was kind of sweet.
Yeah, that was a sweet game.
Brad was going to win that anyway, but he had the 1 mana manifest to get both of the Raptors back. That was sick.
Being able to get those 2, there were 2 Raptors in the bin?
There were 2, yeah. One of them got exiled to Anafenza early on, but the other 2 made their way to the graveyard where they kind of want to be anyway.
Yeah, that was pretty tragic, for sure.
It was nearly tragic. That was good.
Wow. Didn't expect the elf manifested. Because you don't think that anything's going to flip there. I guess you could expect the Carrington too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, from Sam's seat, that couldn't have been a factor, right?
Right. No, I don't think you can't beat 2 Raptors coming back, so you just don't play around it.
So he's just like, yeah, sure. But little did he know he was actually dead anyway. But Sam had no way out that turn. I like the line that he took where he did try to race. I mean, he set himself up so that on board he was ready to win. But, yeah. Uh-oh. Looks like potential mulligans here for Sam Black.
Oh, no.
Is that even a... Yeah,
no.
He's down to 4, and he's going to go to 3 here.
He has to go to 3. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Disaster for Sam Black.
He can hold off the fort if he does find a land here for quite a bit of time. But it's... Look at Brad's hand. Brad's hand is very slow.
Oh, it is really slow, huh? And Sam did find a land.
Okay, found a land.
Yeah, so both self-inflicted wounds are live now.
Yeah, and they're both gonna get. I guess Brad's gonna get an extra creature from the. Oh no, another Whisper Dad.
I mean, when it gets to that point, it's going to get ugly. Sam almost curved into Siege Rhino, though. He on a mold of 3, he went land.
Yeah.
Can't play Rhino. Wow. If Sam hits a land here and plays a Rhino, he will be facing down Pelucranos, so he'll probably just have to play Wound.
Yeah.
So ideally here he hits like a tap land and, you know, like a...
Wow, he found an untapped land.
He did, but I think he just self-inflicted wounds here, right?
I don't know. It's tough. You open up yourself to every removal spell in Brad's hand, but I feel like you're in much better shape if you play the Rhino. Hope that he doesn't have anything, and the next couple of turns you're just gonna be killing every single thing that comes down. You're in a Malta 4. You're gonna have to
Malta 3.
Malta 3. You're right. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I like how you broke that down. As it turns out, Brad not only does have the removal spell with Valorous Stance, but also the morph. So this one could be done quickly here. Poor Sam Black mulliganing into Oblivion.
You can't really beat the stance, so you don't play around the stance in the spot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think Sam's playing around much. His hand's kind of face up. He's like, look, this is what I got.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be facing another Whisperwood Elemental on top of this
this is
morph.
This is really tough for Sam. Going to 3 is just have you ever seen those articles that talk about the percentages to win when you mull to a certain percentage?
Yeah, it drops off like super sharp at 5. Like 5 it bottoms out. 3 is ridiculous.
It's like you cannot. I think I've won one game where I mulliganed to 3 and it was like a red deck.
Yeah,
and it was like the dream draw.
Yeah, I did the same. It wasn't red, but I did it in limited. I won a mulligan to 3 one time. I mean, my opponent flooded and didn't do anything, and I ended up going 2
also need a lot of things to go right for you.
Yeah, it just has to be perfect on all axes.
Yeah.
All right, looks like Sam drew another removal spell here with a ultimate price, but
so he's gonna get to cut this Whispered out.
Yeah.
Still taking 5 a turn.
Yeah, he's just getting thumped too hard here. Now, what if he drew like a Rhino here?
I mean, Rhino stems the bleeding for sure.
Okay, he drew a...
Lion's something. Because if it doesn't die, and it won't from what we know, it's not going to die right now. It can stick around 2 monsters and hopefully, hold down the fort for a little bit of time. The problem, though, is Brad has Whispered Dad. So he's just going to be getting infinite tokens,
Sam decided to block and just trade off for the Den Protector, but like you said, infinite tokens incoming. So
yeah,
something great here.
Multi 3 is like it was very. It actually played out like a respectable game for going to 3.
Yeah, that was almost a real game of Magic. Unfortunately for Sam, the mold of 3 didn't hold up, and getting slaughtered by 2 Whisperwood Elementals, among other things, is a little bit too much for your average 3-card hand to overcome. So Brad's going to win this week, so congrats to him. Off to a good start to get out of his pod as Brad Nelson. And Sam's going to have to regroup. I mean, this is the deck that he's going to be playing for the whole time. But, looking at it, he kind of had the best of it and the worst of it that match, right? I mean, remember game 1?
Yeah, he has the start that you need to beat the deck, and then, going to 3, you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, you just...
Game 2 was really interesting, too.
Yeah, so it goes, and Sam is going to have to settle for a loss to start things off. But the deck looked good. I mean, right? Like,
both decks look good.
Does what it always has done.
It's doing same old thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take just a quick break, but we'll be back in a few more minutes with more Standard Super League. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Standard Super League. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm now joined by Sam Black. Welcome, Sam.
Hey.
Not the most exciting game 1 or game 3 of that match.
No. I'm pretty sure there was a turn that I played pretty badly in game 2 when I just didn't really process what was going on.
Yeah, game 2 was the one I was going to ask you about. It felt like you guys basically got to play one real game. Brad got there in the end, and that was essentially the match, given your mulligan to 3 in the third one.
Yeah, I think that matchup's pretty good for me. But, oh yeah, the turn when I didn't play Herald, when I had 3 mana, and then ended up trading off the other creature that I had, whatever it was, Decular maybe. I should have just played the Herald, but I didn't realize how low my life was and that I wouldn't be able to set up racing. That was kind of bad.
Okay. Now, is Abzan Aggro your pick for the best deck right now, or is it something you thought would match up well in your little group? Or walk me through the thought process picking that deck.
Well, I talked to Corey early in the GP. This is basically just Corey Burkhardt's deck from the top 8 of San Diego.
Sure.
And I talked to him early in the GP, and he said he was doing well and that he was playing Abzan Aggro, but he cut the 3 mana removal for 2 mana removal. And my problem with Abzan Aggro was always that it was pretty clunky and had trouble playing 2 spells per turn. And I really like the removal suite that he's moved to. And I think that all the removal spells he's playing are really well positioned. Getting to play Ultimate Price and Dramoka's Command instead of Hero's Downfalls and Abzan Charms, I think really makes the deck sound much more appealing to me. And it seemed like he was just bashing everyone at the GP. And all the matchups make sense in terms of it being well positioned now. Having just a ton of Valorous stances and Ultimate Prices is really good against Green Devotion decks. And having access to Unravel and Dramoka's Command puts you well positioned against the blue-red decks. And,
yeah, we don't actually have any of the blue-red Fopter deck in our field of 12 here at the Standard Super League, but it really seems like Dramoka's Command has just exploded in terms of how many people are playing it now because of the success that deck had at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, and it's the same situation against the blue-red mill deck, where you just need to be able to answer their enchantments and put pressure on them. And I think Aggro is really well positioned to do both of those things. And it also it has Anapenza to live through Anger of the Gods. It can build a 4 toughness creature pretty easily with Dramoka's Command, and between Dramoka's Command and then access to Thoughtseize and Unravel on the board, you can keep them off tutelage. And then as you know not to just blindly walk into an Anger of the Gods, you should be really well set up. I really like Herald of Torment in the deck. I think, getting the evasion is important to beat Elspeth. Yeah, I didn't really know, I know that I don't want to be on burn, people have adjusted to it enough after the Pro Tour, and I wanted to be on something else, but didn't really have time to figure out what, and that was the deck from the GP that sounded best to me.
Makes sense. Now, any temptation to bust out a more experimental brew? I know that I could very easily have put you in the Brewers group, and you would have fit right in for sure. I just wound up going by top 25 ranking. You've got the 3 in front of your name. You're really just at least as worthy of a spot in the group of death here. But maybe we would have seen something a little more experimental if you'd been over on that side of the groups.
Yeah, I actually took, the role that I was assigned to pretty seriously. If I had been appointed brewer, then I would have tried to brew, but being appointed group of death, I felt like I should, try to choose a serious competitive deck and try to win matches as a top priority over trying to use it as an exhibition match to show off the deck as a priority as I might have in the brewer group.
So what would it have been if you'd been on the other side? Did you have one?
Well, yes, I have something I threw together this morning to see how it would look. That was a Sultai and Siege Rhino deck with Jason, Siege Rhino, and Gather the Pack, and then some Delve and a bunch of Den Protectors and a healthy dose of one-ofs that I could find and reuse with Jace and Den Protector and Gather.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe there's something there. I'll play around with it at some point in the future.
Fair enough. Now, I know you've got Worlds to prepare for. I assume that's your next big tournament?
Well, it's not my next big tournament. My next big tournament, right, but it is my biggest next tournament.
Fair enough. What, Detroit is the next one then, right?
Yep.
Who are you teaming with?
Justin Cohen and Matt Severa.
It's a good team. Probably didn't have to go that far to find them, huh?
Decks right when this was getting started.
That makes sense. And then, talk to me about the process for Worlds. You've played one of these previously, the sort of new super exclusive World Championship?
Yes, I played one.
How different is that from preparing for, say, a Pro Tour?
Well, so that one was totally different for me because that was my first event not working with the Pantheon. Mm-hmm. And it was also my first event seriously working with Justin. Due to the nature of Worlds where people like split into smaller groups to avoid having, half the competitors in the same team or whatever, there wasn't really a way to like work with everyone who was in the Pantheon at the time, and I decided it would be easiest for me to just like split off and work with Justin at home. And I was really happy with the work that we were able to do and satisfied with how well prepared I felt for the event. And that was kind of the first step toward making me really want to focus on like preparing with Justin that ultimately led to us joining / co-founding Team Ultra Pro.
That is a huge story, by the way. I don't know if everybody out there has followed this story. I know it's come up a lot in Pro Tour coverage, but Justin is your roommate, right? Housemate. You guys live together. He'd never played on the Pro Tour until this season, but you guys had played a lot of other games together over the years. He finally qualifies for the Pro Tour. You want to work with him, and the dude makes the finals of the PT in that first event.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. And not only does Justin make the finals, and Justin is now the Rookie of the Year officially. He locked that title up at the most recent Pro Tour. But Team Ultra Pro, which didn't exist until Justin queuing tempted you away from Pantheon, all of a sudden Team Ultra Pro seems to be the best team in the game right now. I mean, your results are just better than anybody else's this year.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to get you to brag on yourself. I'm really impressed with the work and the results that you guys have put together. And yeah, you and Justin have definitely kind of reshaped the team landscape of Pro Magic. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ultra Pro has a really great just dynamic. I think we work well together, and I think our approach to preparation is a little different than teams I've worked with previously, and I know it works a lot better for me. I've cashed every event that I've prepared for with Justin, and I cashed 2 events the entire time I was on the Pantheon.
That's fair enough. Okay. Now, I don't know how much of that, you probably don't want to share the secret sauce, but is there anything you can say about how different the preparation process is, or what the secrets of it?
Well, I mean, so obviously, everyone's at home versus everyone going out and being in the house, and when you're all in the house, it's really hard to get people to bother to do anything online because you can just talk to each other. And I think that there are a lot of things that using a computer more can do for you, that Justin in particular is really good at drawing out in terms of just like building spreadsheets and sharing deck lists and keeping multiple conversations going in threads that everyone, like someone who isn't around when the conversation is happening can just see it and chime in later and get the information that was present there on the Facebook post. Whereas like if you have a conversation in a house, then the 5 people who happen to be in the room at the time will talk about that while 5 other people are out getting food or whatever. And then anyone who wasn't there for that conversation is just out that information. And so that's a pretty big deal. And then also just like in the house, there's just like a lot of time is spent with things like getting food and preparing food for people and just like being in an unusual situation. And also a big part of it is, in the house, it's like just 2 weeks and most people didn't start preparing at all before getting there, which means they hadn't played limited first, which meant that everyone would want to draft twice a day. With Ultra Pro, like, I draft from the pre-release until the release that week, and then on release weekend, I draft the entire weekend. And after that, we're just done with drafting, and we spend the entire time on Constructed. And that's for 6 hours a day on Constructed, and that's just a really big deal. And being the one who's playing all the games is probably pretty good for me. Like, I'm never, just like watching the games or anything. Like, I'm just like sitting down with Justin and grinding out every matchup.
Makes sense.
Have way more games under my belt going into the event this way.
All right. Well, we are closing in on our 4th match of the evening. It's going to be Paul Rietzel versus Owen Turtenwald. We can put the schedule up and just kind of take stock of where we are, kind of halfway through tonight's show. We started off with Tom Ross versus Josh Utter-Layton. Tom, his heroic deck didn't draw a lot of lands in one game, and Josh was able to play around all the tricks. So Josh, with a Jeskai deck, got that win. Played out like a pretty vanilla Jeskai deck, but I mean, clearly his 75 is fairly different from your normal Jeskai deck. Marshall and Gabby played game 2. Gabby and her goblins were victorious, sending Marshall into, I guess, the loser's bracket. And then Brad Nelson defeated Sam, who's going to be doing commentary with me here for match number 4, Paul Reitzel versus Owen Turtenwald. And before we dive into Owen and Paul's deck lists, I do want to sort of, the 2 things we've got up after this one, Owen versus Paul is going to be awesome because it's just 2 truly great players. But I really want to see what Andrew Cuneo's Pyromancer's Goggles deck can do. That's coming up after this match. Andrew, it's a Pyromancer's Goggles deck. That's just what he has brought to the table. Gerard's deck is also kind of cool with 4 copies of Erebos' Titan, but the Goggles, I think, are the ones people are really interested to see. And then, the main event, sitting at the end of the card, the Cheon Showdown, Paul Cheon versus Kenji Egashira. So that will certainly be fun. And we've even got Paul and Kenji in the booth for the Goggles match where they can, I suspect a little bit of trash maybe talk before they then throw down for match number 6.
I haven't looked at all these decks. I should look at Cuneo's deck to see how similar it is to the Goggles deck we were working on for the Pro Tour.
I was just about to ask if you guys had a Pyromancer's Goggles deck and, how real you think that actually is.
The card is very powerful. This is a direction that we talked about going with it, but didn't. Our Pyromancer Goggle deck for the Pro Tour was, like, bigger. We were playing 4 Goggles and 4 Ugins, and playing Astral Cornucopia, and 4 Mage Ring networks to just ramp out the Goggles and the Ugins.
Okay. And that did that work?
It was very bad against counter spells because you were really all in on resolving these big things. But it was very good against decks that are, at all weak to Ugin because you just cast Ugin on turn 6 pretty consistently.
Okay.
And then you have Tormenting Voice and Insight to work with Goggles to find your Ugins. And doubled Anger of the Gods. We had 4 Anger of the Gods to try to buy time for it.
Sure. This looks a little similar to the way Andrew's Sphinx's Tutelage deck works in that you've kind of got all the red search, right? Magnetic Insight, Tormenting Voice. You've got Anger and Wild Slash to buy time. But the thing you're buying time for here just seems totally different. It's just pure value off the Goggles, yeah?
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting to see how these 2 Commune with Lavas play.
Sure.
I guess you don't have to have a very big X when you're copying it.
Right, that was kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, and copying Crackling Doom is obviously great.
That should be a fun one.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we're going to have one of 2 hand cams for the match between Owen and Paul. Apologies in advance, but we're going to go ahead and get that match started. Paul is playing a red-white heroic deck. I've been calling it red-white heroic just because that's the deck list that it looks closest to me. It's actually only got 5 heroic cards in it. Basically he's got the Hoplites and the Lagana Band Trailblazer. but it doesn't have any of the 2-mana heroic cards. We had Paul in the booth earlier, and he was really describing it as more of a prowess deck.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know, it's Abbot of Kerokeep, right? It's red-white aggro with the Abbot as sort of the new hotness out of Origins, giving you card advantage, giving you another card with prowess that can take advantage of all of the spells. That is a lot of spells he's got lined up there.
Yeah, this deck looks sweet.
24 spells to go with 17 creatures.
And most of them need him to have a creature in play.
15 creatures. Yeah. Most of them need him to have a creature in play. He's only got 15, but they are all happy to just have spells get cast.
He doesn't have any removal or anything. This is just 15 cards that target his creatures.
Pretty much.
Like whatever number, all of his spells. So he has to have a creature. And he only has 15.
Yeah, I think he was expecting that maybe the group would be kind of dirtily green decks, mid-range green decks are what people were going to bring to the table. And he's kind of got that matchup in Owen. We can look at Owen's deck list. He's on Abzan Constellation. Like, how much ability does Abzan Constellation have to actually interact with Paul's creatures?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't, this might be a really bad matchup for Owen, because if you can't stop him from having a creature, he is really explosive.
So you like Paul's?
I like Paul's side. Being on the play is going to be really big. Just getting to Thoughtseize a creature before he plays it matters.
All right, we will get the pictures cleaned up for you. We have Owen's hand. I believe we are not going to have Paul's hand, but we'll try to get that transcribed for you. Just do a little bit of radio.
Oh, it looks like Owen's playing exactly the list from the GP, the second place finishing deck.
Sure. So Paul's already lost to Abzan Constellation once in the last couple of days? That's what you're telling me?
Well, he does have to play that exact matchup, but I think his deck might be a little better prepared for it now.
His deck is certainly very different from the Abzan, the sort of control-ish Abzan list that Paul took the top 4 to GP.
Totally different deck. So Owen's hand has no way to interact with a creature. I mean, Owen's deck has very few.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good in that he has a solid curve. So I imagine he has to keep it, but I expect him to get run over.
It'd be interesting kind of playing from Owen's side, thinking about all the tricks that Paul can have. This may actually kind of a good match to not see Paul's hand on, because that's what a lot of this gameplay is, right? Especially from Owen's side, it's just trying to figure out what Paul's capable of.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
right.
We get to see Paul's hand too.
We get to know what it is anyway.
2 Abbots.
2 mana,
Okay.
3 land.
So he doesn't have a 1-drop, which 1-drops are super important in this matchup for sure. And he has to lead Abbot when he can't take advantage of it just to get a creature down. So this is kind of his worst possible creature start, but he has Temur Battle Rage, which is also going to be really huge in this matchup, I think.
So not a great hand from Paul, and not a great hand from Owen, but both keepable.
Yeah, I mean, well, like Owen's hand is about as good as he can expect main deck. I mean, like his only good cards really, I think, are like Thoughtseize and maybe Banishing Light, and each of them only sometimes. And I mean, he has what his deck can do. He has like a curve of early blockers, and he has to just hope that Paul has to spend a trick getting past each creature and then doesn't have enough tricks left to kill him.
Sure. Paul with no hesitation to play the Abbot on turn 2, of course.
Yeah,
Doesn't get to take advantage of the special ability, but he's got to get a creature into play or his deck doesn't do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, once Owen gets up to Doomwake Giant, Paul is basically locked out of the game.
Sure.
The pressure is definitely on him to actually do things.
All right. Defiant Strike is the card with the Abbot this time, so it wasn't a land. He Abbots, then plays his land, turning on the Defiant Strike, of course.
I think you have to block here, but Owen doesn't.
Owen doesn't.
Maybe I'm underrating the this Pantheon guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Herald of Pantheon, that's the new Origins card that Owen played as his 2-drop. It does make all of his enchantments cheaper, which certainly does some stuff in this deck.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I guess it's going to gain enough life over the course, and I guess you know that you're not putting Paul on no creatures. But I feel like in a spot where, like, you know that the trick that Paul wants to play wouldn't save his guy from the trade, I'd be really tempted to just make that get his guy off the board, but could easily be wrong.
Owen did not trade the creatures, but he does have Banishing Light for one of the Abbots.
Right.
We can see that Paul's second Abbot is the only other creature in his draw. Owen, of course, doesn't know that. Oh, to be fair, we don't know what Paul's draws are. We only know what's left over from his opening hand.
Oh, fair enough.
Seeker of the Way is one of the new cards. Now, how do you play this from Paul's side?
So
you attack into the Courser?
So you're the Starfield of Nyx makes that really problematic. Like, you know it's coming down. You have to use a trick to kill it, but then the Starfield of Nyx is just going to bring it back.
Okay. How does Boros Heroic deal with Starfield of Nyx then?
I think the answer is that you have to just build up enough that you kill him in one hit with Temur Battle Rage. And or God's Spelling.
So he's going protection from greed. He does not want to give Owen the ability to trade here.
Right, exactly. I think that's what you have to do, is you have to just push through damage, and like, you can't be trading because of Starfield. So you have to just like get in big hits where you can and just try to kill him. Because you can't do nothing and you can't trade. So as long as you have things like God's Willing, cash it in, because you know, that gets Owen much closer to dying to the Battle Rage.
All right, and Paul spends the rest of his mana on that Seeker of the Way.
So right now, if he draws a land, he can cast Strength, which basically gives +4 power, Presence, which gives +2 power. So that's +6 to his 2 is 8. Battle Rage makes it 9 and then doubles it. So that's not lethal depending on how blockers go, but it's very close. But again, that's only if he has another land, and that's using all of his resources.
Also, Paul does not have another God's Willing, so he can't turn
But the
off.
Battle Rage will trample through, which is why the blockers matter, but like, we're still close to killing him. But
he drew God's Willing.
God's Willing is huge, because now we can get low enough. What was that?
He scryed into it. I mean, he played God's Willing last turn, got a scry. I don't know if he pushed or saw it, but
right. And we have the 4th land.
Wow. Everything's coming up Riesel, I think.
I wonder if this is lethal. I think this is lethal if you go God's Willing, Titan Strength, Temur Battle Rage.
I mean, we should just add it up, right? That's 3 prowess triggers to get to 5, Titan Strength to get to 8, Temur Battle Rage 16. Isn't it 1 short? Owen gained life off both the Herald and the Courser last turn. So I think it's 16. How crazy.
Wait, can you make it more by casting the God's Willing on one of them and the Battle Rage on the other after it gets blocked?
Quite possibly.
That's the math Paul has to be doing here.
Yes. God's Willing to make one of them unblockable. Temur Battle Rage to make the other one trample over. Yeah, if you point the Titan Strength, the Battle Rage at the blocked creature. Wow, Paul's sending him in. He's done enough math. Owen knows that he has to block, and now what's going to happen? It feels like there's enough here. Oh, Paul did not God's Willing pre-combat, so both blocks are possible.
There's not. So he's definitely not killing Owen this turn. I don't know.
Pre-combat, doesn't he? I guess I'm surprised he didn't do God's Willing pre-combat.
Yeah, I mean, he must have. I mean, we didn't actually do the math on what happens if he goes the try to get damage with both creatures route. Maybe Paul did it and figured out that it wasn't lethal.
Well, he would have 3 prowess triggers on the unblocked guy, right? For 5. And then the other dude would be trampling and double striking.
Right.
And what, 5, 8 would be 8 double strike trample.
So that's 16.
Minus the toughness, but plus the 5. Wow, he's
6
also
potentially. So it's only 10. So it's only 15 getting through, but it kills both of Owen's creatures.
If Owen double blocks, it would also not have been lethal. You're exactly right.
Right. So, I mean, if he just decided, well, I don't have it, and then thinks that it's profit, like this way he can just unload on one of them, kill both of Owen's guys, hit for a bunch with the Battle Rage, and then God's Willing for a lethal next turn, I'm guessing is what he's trying to set up.
Crazy. Yeah, there's the Team of Battle Rage. Trample over for a bunch. How big is that guy now? It's like 12 are trampling over. And a Johnny's Presence to save the other guy and pick up a couple prowess triggers?
No, I think it's the other guy's getting prowess triggers anyway, so he doesn't need it. I'm assuming that, yeah, it was, yeah, Presence the same guy, putting Owen down to 1, and now the God's Willing is going to be lethal unless Owen can find another color of blocker.
Yeah, so Paul was able to get him to 1, kill both creatures. Starfield brings back a Courser. Other Courser gets played. But yeah, Paul's down to just the God's Willing, right? Owen can gain life with a land thanks to those 2 Coursers, but God's Willing creates prowess triggers.
Yep.
Wow, Paul's going to kill him for Xaxes. What a crazy game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Paul's line makes sense once you realize that, like, Owen can double block to stay alive, and then Paul's totally out of gas and might not have a way to break through. Whereas this just gets him low enough that the God's Willing kills him the next turn.
Yeah, Paul comes by that HOF in front of his name, honest. Dude can play some Magic. Protection from green. And kill you. Wow, good game.
Yeah. So I think that game did a good job of just showing what's going on in this matchup.
Did he draw a third God's Willing just for fun? He did. He top decked God's Willing number 3 just for fun.
All right.
Little Darwin wins. Paul's nickname from growing up as a New England area Magic player back in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. He was the little kid kind of following around Darwin Castle and David Humphreys and all the Your Move Games guys, studying at their knee, learning how to play. Yeah, so, he's Darwin ever since.
Looking at this sideboard,
it
looks like Owen gets to bring in Freaka's Cure, Hero's Downfall, and Thoughtseize.
Does seem good.
Yeah. This means that Freaka's Cure is interesting. I mean, it's super important, but now, you know, Paul knows about that, and it's not ultimate price. So, like, if Paul has any trick, he can save his guy from it. So it'll be interesting to see how much Paul ends up trying to avoid tapping out to be able to protect his creatures from that, versus just being like, well, you only have 3 of them. Let's just, you know, get out there.
Does sideboarding change Paul's deck very much? Let's look at his list.
Let's see. Oh, I saw something on my other screen. Okay, so he gets to bring in Seekers if he wants, but he probably doesn't. I imagine if he figured 15 creatures was enough sometimes, this is a match where he can afford to be relatively low.
What are they doing in the sideboard then?
I assume that they're for people with more removal than this.
Okay.
Like, if your opponent has a lot of removal.
That makes sense.
Or also, I mean, it's Seeker the way specifically, so if he needs to gain life, he can bring it in.
Wow, Seeker, Monastery Mentor, Dawnbringer, Charioteer. There's those 5 creatures, and then a couple Hushring Grist. 7 creatures in his sideboard.
Ride Down looks pretty good here, because Owen's best way of interacting is blocking.
Wow, he does bring in Ride Down here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I imagine it brings it valid stance. It doesn't show up much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks great in this matchup.
Yeah, Owen's got what? Comes into play tap land, so he can't Thoughtseize turn 1. He has to choose between Herald or Thoughtseize on turn 2.
Yeah, and I'm guessing at that point you Herald, and then just
I
Thoughtseize
guess.
when you have a moment.
Turn 2 Herald, turn 3 Herald, with another comes into play tap land. And this time Paul has 1-drops. Remember last game, Paul didn't even have a 1-mana creature.
Yeah, but Paul was on the play last time, right?
Fair.
So it's kind of similar.
Yeah, Monastery Swissery. That's the 1-drop that he likes. I know that.
Also looks great. He has just like multiple guys, and then a ton of ways to push through. He needs to find some ways to get more damage, but Owen's not going to want to block here, so he'll get some early damage that way. And then if he just draws like a Titan Strength, it's going to be pretty easy to make it lethal.
Yeah, Swissery number 2, mana untapped, threaten a trick. Owen can't block, so Paul gets to drop the 3rd guy.
And he knows that Owen doesn't have Drown in Sorrow or anything in his deck.
Right. Deck lists are public. These guys can see each other's lists. They didn't know what people were going to be playing until they all submitted, of course, but at this point they know.
Yep.
What do you take with this Thoughtseize if you're Owen?
I think you might have to take Temur Battle Rage, because he has multiple protection spells. Just need to stop him from getting big damage.
Makes sense. Paul's deck is awesome.
Oh, well, he took a card I didn't know about.
Oh, Dragon Mantle? Fair enough.
So...
Paul, new to the Super League, of course. Well, we'll get the bugs worked out with his hand cam for next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. And taking Dragon Mantle makes sense, because it just, makes all his guys bigger and draws him another card. That's definitely not something you want to have happen here. Especially the permanent boost on the favorite hoplite.
Yeah, this is really a prowess deck instead of a heroic deck. I should just change the name, probably. We should change the name. Farika's Cure.
Yeah, I mean, Owen has some removal, but Paul's on a really creature-heavy draw, so...
Speaking of cards I haven't seen played and constructed yet.
Artful Maneuver.
Artful Maneuver, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh. We'll get them to pause and bring you continued coverage as soon as we relaunch our client. Wow, so Paul's deck seems awesome, right?
This is definitely a good matchup for it. I mean, it's a sweet deck, but, against a deck with like a lot of Anger of the Gods or something, things would look a little different. But, or just, a deck with a lot of Wild Slashes, I imagine, would be well positioned against it. But it's a cool take on Heroic for sure.
Paul's commenting in our chat that he was dealing damage too quickly and made the whole system go down. Nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously we get 3 weeks with these decks. These guys are going to play the same deck through the entire group stage. So, Paul will be playing against you with your Aggro deck. How does that matchup look, do you think?
Well, he's definitely faster than me.
Okay.
I think that the specific, having 2 mana removals instead of 3 mana removal is absolutely huge for me.
Okay.
He obviously gets on the board first and then has ways to counter my removal, but I don't know, it'll be interesting. Looks like we have the game here, though.
I definitely like Paul's chances in this match, but now I'm starting to think, right, is it a matchup thing that's making him look so good here against Owen?
The deck is great.
Is the deck actually real?
This is certainly the kind of deck he's trying to prey on.
Yes. Mid-range green decks. Been a lot of those in Standard for the last year or so.
Yep.
All right, yeah, we're back in. We will get them started. They were nice enough to pause for us. And we can send them word to keep playing. Owen's second black comes into play tapped, unfortunately for him. Does get to Banishing Light something for what, 1 mana? Or he can Doom Wake Giant for 3 mana?
He goes for the Banishing Light, which I guess makes sense. He's low and needs to get stable. Doom Wake's not killing anything.
Partial Maneuver, rebounds. Trigger.
That's a lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. And this is despite the 1 mana Banishing Light from Owen.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to see a Trump block, and I wonder if Paul's going to allow a Trump block. He has Temur Battle Rage, so Trump block doesn't work out all that well.
Right. But if he doesn't chump, then I mean, could Owen make double block? Is super scary, right? On the 2/3.
We have 5 power. So if Owen doesn't block, Temur Battle Rage is probably lethal. It seems lethal.
It looks lethal.
So that.
Yeah, he's going God's Willing. Does he have a land? If he drew a land this turn. So this is upkeep.
Find a land.
Upkeep God's Willing so that he can use the Scry because Paul knows a land would be lethal. And there it is. Battlefield Forge. Now the guy who's pro-green can become double striking and trampling. Not that the trample does anything.
Yeah, and he knows that I think Owen's list can't... Oh, he's just going Feeder Resistance here. Is that lethal? I imagine that's lethal if that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
-2 for Owen Turnwald and Paul Rietzel, ladies and gentlemen. Boros beatdown, going back to his roots. Red, white.
Those were quick games.
Heroic, whatever. It was beatdown, and it was Paul sculpting the draws, lining up the tricks, and just smashing Owen's attempt at a mid-range green deck.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sweet list. He's playing a lot of unusual cards that are working really well together from what we saw there. The Artful Maneuver was worth a ton of damage.
Indeed, yeah. 2 prowess triggers each time it was cast, plus the natural +2/+2. I guess it was a 3rd prowess trigger when the Seeker was in play. That was the turn that we crashed on.
It was a play, right? Yeah.
All right. That was fun. But now we get to shift gears. Now we get to let Andrew Cuneo take over the stage. And we get to let Andrew Cuneo show us if what he has cooked up with Pyromancer's goggles. Thanks for hanging out with me, Sam. I'm also going to take the next round off. We're going to turn things over to Paul Cheon and Kenji Egashira to cast the goggles match, and then I'll be back for our last match of the night where the 2 of them will clash. Stay tuned, guys. Standard Super League will be right back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Standard Super League. I'm here with Daddy Paul Cheon. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good. I'm ready to bash, but before I do, we have one more round to go.
We do indeed have one more round to go between Andrew Cuneo and Gerard Fabiano. Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, the thing is, there's a lot of hype about our match, but I'm actually much more excited to kind of watch these guys play. Their decks look a lot sweeter than ours.
Yeah, you know, the Brewers, they got especially Andrews. It's not exactly like his last lists from the Pro Tour. He's not
Specific,
running those tutelage anymore.
specifically, I want to see if the goggles, if they actually do something.
Sure, let's bring up Andrew's list actually and go over it real quick.
All right, let's see here. 3 copies of Pyromancer's goggles. Oh, Commune with Lava. Hold on. I remember when I first opened this card, I reading it, and then not really figuring out if it's good, and then I'm trying to read it again and still trying to figure out if it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so weird with the goggles though. If you do it for any large amount, how many spells are you going to actually be able to cast, right? Because you actually have to cast the spells. You don't get to do them for free off of the commune.
Yeah, so you end of turn commune, which lets you commune twice.
Sure, but
Then you hit like a magmatic insight, but then you can only double down on it once. I mean, one thing's for sure, Kunio's list is all about value.
yeah, no, that's definitely true.
You got a ton of card draw. But then I'm looking at Gerard, and it looks like he actually just has a real deck. And
Yeah.
he's got 4. He's already pre-boarded. He's got 4 Sultai Charms main deck.
Not only that, like the Sultai Charms, like you were mentioning, destroy the artifacts, Pyromancer's goggles, but he has like 4 Thoughtseize, a Duress, just Liliana to keep discarding cards. I don't know, man. It seems like it's getting really hard for Andrew to pull this one through.
To be fair, Gerard's decks are almost always pre-boarded against control. So, I mean, he look at his sideboard. He's got to learn from the past in his sideboard. I don't even know what that's for. Is that just in case somebody tries to mill him out?
Yeah, the tutelage deck. I don't know if he knew that he was playing Andrew, but the tutelage deck for sure, right?
He's got a talent of the telepath. I mean,
I don't know about that, but I mean,
Gerard's deck in sideboard looks kind of sweet. I mean, he's got a lot of powerful cards. Another card to note that you don't see often is Erebos' Titan.
yeah. I had to reread this card a few times. I still don't know what it does fully, right?
I think it's a hard to cast 4-mana 5/5. That's what it is.
It's triple black in a 3-color deck. Now, a lot of his lands come into play tapped, but he's only running 1 Urborg to really, help push that through. I guess he has a lot of the fetches too, but man,
I mean, he's got 20 black sources in his deck, so it's definitely possible to get it through. But I mean, it just Gerard just playing a ton of good cards, some counter magic, 4 Jaces. I know when we were testing for the Pro Tour, we were trying to figure out what the base Jace deck was, and when I was asking Alex Hayne, he was like, "Well, it's probably Sultai or Jeskai. It's one of those 2 decks." And Gerard busting out the Jeskai. So
I'm actually surprised we don't see as many 1-ofs in Gerard's deck.
As, I mean, he's got 10 1-ofs. He's got 10 1-ofs in the sideboard. Wait, like 9.
Sure, in the sideboard, but the sideboard's I don't know, a little bit different than the main deck. I do like the 1 Den Protector.
Maybe Gerard wants to win this time. I feel like this deck actually could use more Den Protectors.
I agree. Any deck running green wants all of the Den Protectors it can get, especially when he has Tassigers and Satyr Wayfinders and Lilianas, other ways to get cards in the yard.
I have 4 in yours, and I'm not looking forward to grinding through those.
Yeah, well, I guess he has double Treasure Cruise, so kind of a non-bow there, but
Yeah, he's got a lot of delve cards. I mean, I think part of the strategy with this deck is playing a Wayfinder early or Jace, and then just delving out a giant fatty. So,
yeah, I think, again, I think it's favored for Gerard. If we go back to Andrew's list and look at his sideboard, I didn't really get a good look of it the first time, but
he's got some Silk Wraps. I feel like when you're playing Mardu, you probably have access to removal that's better than Silk Wrap. But
I would agree. But hey, he has double Outpost Siege, and I gotta assume. I mean, again, Gerard has the Sultai Charms in the main already, but Outpost Siege seems.
Yeah. My biggest concern is just that I don't think Andrew's deck just puts enough pressure on Gerard, and I feel like Gerard's late game is probably stronger, but at the same time, I could just be wrong. The goggles just might be insane. Like if you just play a goggles and then just at least use it once to cast Magmatic Insight, that's just a ton of value.
Tell me, how good is 2 Foundry of the Consuls in his deck?
And oh my god, yeah, he's playing 3 colors in Foundry of the Consuls. What does it do though?
They don't die to Ugin. How about, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he managed to fit Foundry of the Councils in a 3-color deck, but I guess he's just no. Wait, I'm trying to figure out where the splash is. He's splashing black, so I mean there is that, but yeah, I don't know. This deck is wild, and Andrew Cuneo, I mean he's a master. He finds ways to win matches with decks that don't actually seem like real decks. I mean, his other deck just won the Grand Prix.
Sure.
So,
Well, okay, so who would you rather be playing, or whose deck would you rather be playing with right now?
Well, if I wanted to get a lot more fans,
let's say percentage-wise, no LSV 65-45 percentages. What's the percentage?
45? I mean, if you run the numbers, I think that checks out. But I would just looking at the cards, I'm going to go with Gerard's deck. His deck just seems very, very prepared for anything trying to be remotely controlling. I think Gerard's deck might suffer a little more against like the aggressive decks, but this matchup is not one of those, and I feel like Gerard should be able to win this match pretty handily.
So you're saying I would be Gerard and you would be Andrew here?
Oh, really?
Is that?
Well, I'm playing. I mean, I'm playing a real deck, and you're playing. Just green. You're playing a deck with 30 creatures in it. So
I mean, creatures are good. They tap. They turn sideways. They do things. They deal damage.
Yeah. I guess it is really hard to play an Elvish Mystic into a 3-drop, but we'll see how it goes.
I do like the Soulfire Grandmasters in Andrew's list. They have a lot of nice targets, especially with like Magmatic Insight. I don't know. I mean, just it looks like you can power through.
Andrew's deck definitely has a lot of value. This match might not go very. This match might take a really long time. It'll be much faster than the annihilation that you'll receive after this one.
What? You're playing Esper Dragons. We just saw what happened between Gabby and Marshall.
Yeah, but I mean that's Marshall. And it's a completely different matchup. Completely different matchup. I was sideboarding last second. I took out a Virulent Plague out of my board, thinking that it would be more likely that somebody would be on the other mono red deck, and then Gabby busted out the goblins, and just wish I played a totally different deck, but whatever.
I'm excited to progress through the series. I think I have a good matchup versus Gabby. We'll see how Marshall does against me, but
yeah. I mean, I think you actually have a pretty good choice. Where did you come up with this deck?
I kind of just took.
Did you just PM Brian Kibler, and then did he just ship you a list?
I was like, Brian, what are you gonna send me? This sweet green-white list with stuff? No. So I just looked at Brian's list, or a lot of the green-white lists that players were playing at San Diego. Kind of alternate a little bit. I really like Collected Company.
I mean, you're very lucky, so I would guess that Collected Company is good.
Yeah, no, Collected Company is great.
Yeah.
So, I think we're just about ready for the match, though, so hold on, folks. We'll get those player images updated here for a second.
Get ready to start battling.
Yeah.
I mean, our matchup's going to be fairly straightforward, I think. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how Andrew's deck actually functions. Because just by looking at it, I still can't tell.
Yeah.
It's just like.
I want to have some good games. I don't want some silly mulligans to 3.
I mean, if what happened to Sam happens to you, I won't necessarily complain. But yes, I would like good games of Magic as well.
I just want to handicap myself because I think you'll need it.
Oh, that's good.
Gerard's hands looks very, very good. He's got a Thoughtseize, a Wayfinder, a Negate, and an Ashiok. Wow. I like it. He can actually Thoughtseize on turn 2, and then Ashiok turn 3. Can't see Andrew's hand very well here.
Gotta take a look here.
He does have the goggles, though.
Yeah, he does have the goggles. I mean, Gerard's hand looks fantastic.
Yeah. Well, what do you take here if you're Gerard? I assume he's going to Thoughtseize here, as opposed to leading with the Wayfinder.
Yeah. He's probably going to go with the Thoughtseize into Temple into Ashiok. I don't even see how Andrew's deck actually deals with an Ashiok too well. He doesn't have any Hero's Downfalls or anything.
No, and he has 4 creatures and maybe Wild Slashes. I think I saw in the main deck.
I don't even. Yeah. What do you Thoughtseize? It's like Colligan's Command doesn't really do anything.
Do you just take the Insight? Is that that's the most immediate thing? Are the goggles? I mean, I guess maybe you're scared of the goggles. You see all these red spells, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to take this card. But he's still 4 mana away from it, and he needs to draw 2 lands.
That is true. I mean, to be fair, when you look at Andrew's hand, it looks like just a pile of cards. So
it kind of looks like the last few sets were melded together. They added Origins, with. Well,
it's Colligan's Commands and a bunch of last picks. That's what it looks like in his opening. So I mean, we'll see what happens here. But look, Gerard's probably thinking, he's like, what do I take? I mean,
looks like he took the Colligan's Command, which Andrew has a second one of.
I mean, I guess that's reasonable. It's a source of card advantage. I mean, the thing is, like, Gerard doesn't really have that many creatures, so I guess it's just going to be like, you know, Ash Shock for 2 and discard a card. And Gerard's hand's not even that great, so he has plenty of things to discard.
But I think this Ashiok is just going to go the distance. What does Andrew do versus this?
I think he's pretty cold. Like, I don't think he can do a whole lot. I mean, unless he gets the goggles going, which, you know, because Gerard had the negate in his hand, I guess he just figured, you know, by the time Andrew hits his 5th land, he can just hold up the negate and, you know, he should be completely fine.
Sure, yeah. Here comes a Tormenting Voice. See what Andrew hits here. Crackling Doom, not going to cut it versus this deck.
Yeah. Andrew seems very, very handicapped, at least in this matchup.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out what matchups he'd be favored, but this does not seem like it's one of them.
He went for the sweet deck, remember?
He did go for the sweet deck, and you know, that's why people love Cuneo. He's the people's champion. He plays when he brews, he brews. I mean, look at this thing.
Well, doesn't he always like top 64 the PT or top 32
well,
the PT?
You know, but the thing is, he purposely handicaps himself because the secret is actually, you know, in all these Pro Tours that he plays in, he just goes 5-1 or 6-0 unlimited every time.
Sure.
So, like, despite people looking at him and be like, oh man, he plays all these sweet constructed decks, he's actually just a very good limited player and just a good Magic player in general. Right, so what's he doing here? It looks like he Ashioked and hit a Soulfire Grandmaster. Ashiok's already ticked up to 7.
Yeah.
I mean, Ashiok can just ultimate.
Exactly. One of Andrew's 4 creatures, the Soulfire Grandmaster.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Gerard, he doesn't need a whole lot more, but his hand doesn't have a whole lot of action.
Sure, but as long as he just holds up that negate, you know, the Ashiok's just going to tick, tick, tick.
Yeah. I mean, you can you know, make sure that the Ashiok at least doesn't ultimate, but ooh, do you think he'll consider putting No. Putting Soulfire Grandmaster into play actually seems pretty bad, especially because he knows that Cuneo has got Call Against Command and Crackling Doom.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just keep ticking up here. I wanna ultimate Ashiok.
Yeah. Ultimate Ashiok seems like the play. Maybe he'll just win with the State of Wayfinder. Get that value.
I think as soon as he ultimates Ashiok, things are gonna go bad here. I think Andrew might be forced to use the Kolaghan's command a little bit offensively here, make him discard and maybe deal 2 damage.
He's probably going to. I mean, I think his game plan at least is just to set up the next turn, you know, play the Call Against Command this turn, next turn play Goggles and try to get some value with Magmatic Insight. But the main deck negate is going to get him, so.
I don't counter the Call Against Command though, right? You just take that for sure.
Yeah. The Call Against Command doesn't do anything. And the thing is, Gerard already thought he's Andrew, so he knows there's a Pyromancer's Goggles in his hand.
Oh, there's a second one though. Oh wait, no, that was a Soulfire Grandmaster. I saw the image from the side. It looked pretty similar, and I was like,
so once again, I mean, just looking at it, you know, how the game's played out. Like if you even just, you know, took the Goggles and Call Against Command, just really just seems like discard 1 card, 3 mana, discard 1 card. Just
maybe kill the Sado. Oh geez, Gerard draws complete gas here in Treasure Cruise.
Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And he has an untapped blue source to follow it up to if he hits another negate. If we look at his deck list here, I think he's running how many negates?
I think he has 2 main deck negates.
2 main deck negates, and he can also hit more Thoughtseizes, Duresses too. So, kind of gross. Well, not the best of hits. Tassiger's going to do some work off of Polluted Delta, but the removal spells are kind of dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're basically just playing a matchup where both people just have a bunch of dead cards.
Sure.
Gerard's got the Planeswalker, and that's the only card that actually matters right now.
Yeah, and
imagine Gerard has a great sideboard too.
Gerard only has 2 Ashioks main decks, so having one turn 3 seems pretty nice. Duress in his sideboard. He has Stratus Dancer. That talent of the Telepath, I want to see that in work.
Disdainful Stroke counters the Goggles.
Yeah.
I don't know what talent of the Telepath would do, but I mean.
Treasure Cruise.
Yeah. And let's see, what else does he have? A Null. Would you board in a Null just for the Goggles?
No way.
I think Goggles might be the only card he has. Oh no, he has Outpost Siege too.
I guess from the sideboard. Okay, and again, they do have access to the deck list, so they know what can. He
also has just like a bunch of removal spells that are pretty bad, and Erebos' Titans, and a lot of other bad cards. So.
You know, and Null does get Silk Wrap. I don't know if he's planning on bringing that in, but just more random value targets.
Oh. What's going on here?
Right, so a lot of removal spells. That's what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, Crackling Doom's going to get the Tasigur, but I mean that Ashiok is just still in play, and Kunio just has really nothing going on. I guess he can. Well, no, there's no way the Soulfire Grandmaster is living.
Well,
I bet Gerard's just like, yes, a target.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
4 creatures in the deck. He's already hit 1 off of Ashiok. Andrew's already at, what, 30 cards in his library?
He's just going to get milled out.
I mean...
Does he have any Planeswalker? Is it better just to cast a Downfall here? Like,
Andrew has an Ugin, I believe.
Okay, 1 Ugin. All right,
Ugin,
so yeah, it's
yes.
better to hold on to Downfall. He's not doing anything else with his man anyways. And more removal spells.
Oh, he did hit a Commune. All right.
Okay. I mean...
End of turn Commune for 3 is definitely kind of
What's
a thing.
he going to hit?
Goggles?
Doom?
No, he's going to hit Goggles and... I don't even know.
Goggles
Mardu Charm put in 4 1/1s.
Okay, if he hits a Goggles and then Magmatic Insight as well, he might be able to claw his way back into it.
All right, but he'd need to draw a land, though.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes a... Oh, is he going to Call against Command and Response and not... I guess maybe he wants to get back his soul... No, wait, that doesn't... Wouldn't you just snap off Commune for 3 here?
Yeah, definitely. Well, no, it says until the end of the next turn. Is that what Commune says?
Commune with... I'm pretty sure...
So, until the end of your next turn. Yeah, so you can just play it for 3 for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's your next turn. Oh my, I don't know. I don't know if I like that play. Yeah, now he's like... Andrew knows Gerard's deck. He knows he has a lot of removal for creatures / planeswalkers. That Soulfire Grandmaster is not going to be doing too much here, as opposed to 3 random cards he could have hit.
To be fair, the Kudio's did a good job of just pinging down the Ashiok, so it still hasn't gone ultimate. And at this point, doing the ultimate doesn't even do anything.
Sure, but he's going to mill him out. He has no good way to deal with it.
Yeah, he's got 23 cards left in his deck, so...
I'm scared and confused for Andrew right now. All right, Wayfinder bins some cards. I didn't see. Did it hit a land? Oh,
Erebos is Titan.
Okay, wait, that's actually a thing, right? Because he can kill the Soulfire.
What does Erebos' Titan do again? I mean, it's indestructible. Wait, no, but Kuni has no way of returning a creature from his graveyard, right? It's only good against like a Death Mist Raptor. Isn't that why that card is played?
Whenever a creature card leaves an opponent's graveyard, you may discard a card. Okay, I guess not.
Oh, whenever creature. So if something gets delved.
Yeah, but I don't think Andrew has too many ways to delve away cards, if any. Yeah, I think this is just bad shape.
God, I wish it was a little more competitive. This Ashiok is doing so much work. Does Kunio have any way to deal with an Ashiok post board? Does he have Hero's Downfall?
No.
Nope. Could have used the Banishing Light over there.
Oh, no, he is. He has 3 Heroes Downfall.
He has 3 downfalls. 3 downfalls.
Okay, all right.
Does he have the black mana to do so? 3, 4, 8, 9, 12, 14, 15 black sources. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to bring those in. Ashiok just completely stomps on him.
Yeah. All right. Gerard with the Jace off the top. Oh, Jace is
immune to Crackling Doom. Satyr Wayfinder. Yeah, doing a good job of.
Look at that. Father-son just finishing each other's sentences.
Also, we did the same thing. We kind of moved up in our...
Yeah, we're like, all right. We said the same thing. Get it together.
All right. Draw 2 random ones. Let's discard our Mire.
Why didn't you play the Jace?
What
he was around.
Oh, he drew 2 creatures.
Ooh, those are both good creatures.
Yeah, Mentor could actually do some work here.
All things considered, Gerard's actually drawn fairly poorly. Like he played the Treasure Cruise and he just hasn't been able to do anything afterwards.
Yeah, if Gerard just whiffs again, draws a land.
Ooh.
It is a big card.
Instead of Urborg, there's a boom boom on the battlefield.
There's a big boom boom.
It is a big boom boom.
Can you hear that dog in the background?
Can you hear the baby in the background?
No, I can't. I'm going to close my door real quick.
I'm going to just close my baby. I can't do that.
Purposely did that for the Franker's ease, obviously.
Oh, right, of course.
All right.
Look at this board. Erebos' Titan, Satyr, Wayfinder, and Jace.
Yeah. And did Andrew just rip a land? Was that what happened?
Yes. He just passed. Right, so he flips the Jace.
Well, with Jace flipping, that's really bad. He gets all of his removal spells back.
Let's see. Look what you did to the chat now. You just broke it. Every time. This is just. There's just 2 ways to break the chat. This is one of them. Oh my god.
Apparently, you're closing your baby, so I don't even know. Doesn't even work.
Right.
You got to hold the baby, Paul.
Yeah,
Hold
well,
the baby.
you know, he's just learned how to say no, like like a definitive no. Before all the other words are kind of mumbling, but
Sure.
he just looks at you in the eye and just goes no. So I mean, it's kind of rough. I was like, Kyle, it's time to go to bed, and he's just like, no, father, I'm staying awake. Oh, here's the other way the chat breaks. Now it's my fault.
All right, so Gerard's playing his second Ashiok out. Is he just going to keep plussing it, I guess, for 3 more? Okay, Andrew has
6 cards.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, I guess that's what happens sometimes.
You're just not scooping. Never say never.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the sideboards here now.
Yeah. And again, I think Gerard's sideboard is much better suited than Andrew's is, but
Yeah. So out of Andrew's sideboard, I imagine something along the lines of Heroes, Downfalls, Rabble Masters, and Outpost Siege. Those are the likely cards that come in, and he can probably take out like Anger of the Gods and some number of bad burn spells. What's Gerard gonna bring in?
Andrew's sideboard does not look very good, but Gerard, he can bring in the other Duress. He can bring in the Disdainful Stroke. He can bring in a Null if he really wants to. I don't think he's going to. Stratus Dancer seems great.
Yeah.
I might even try the Talent of the Telepath, honestly.
Yeah, I would do that in just for fun.
Yeah. Especially if you're able to hit a Treasure Cruise with Spell Mastery.
Oh my goodness, that would be value. Yeah, I would definitely do that. I mean, the cards that for sure come in are the Stratus Dancer, the Disdainful Stroke, and the Duress. I mean, Gerard's got a lot of bad cards in his main deck that he can probably cut. Like I imagine Liliana doesn't do a whole lot.
Well, if it flips though, the discard, yeah.
What would he actually cut then? I mean, actually, his deck is almost pre-sideboarded. Maybe like Hero's Downfall and Ultimate Price.
Yeah, he doesn't need as much removal. If he's looking at Andrew's list, he knows Andrew has Ugin, so he might keep the Downfall in there just for
not
that.
The price.
Yeah.
I mean, Kunya's got like no creatures, so like the ultimate prices are pretty bad.
Exactly.
Because the thing is, you can kill those creatures with Sultai Charm as well.
Yep. Very true. So. Look at his Sultai Charm versus Cockle, just main deck, just random value.
Yeah, I mean, Sultai Charm is just. I think it's just a really good card, and part of the reason why that I just shy away from playing Sultai Controls is just it's got a really weak red matchup, just because you don't have access to the life gain lands, and your deck is a little bit clunkier, and those life gain lands, I think, just swing it just enough so that the matchup is actually playable. Whereas when you're playing Sultai, it seems really hard to beat a red deck.
Sure, yeah, I buy that. All right, looks like we're ready for game 2 here.
All right, come on, Kunio, let's make this competitive. I mean, with the Hero's Downfall, maybe if he the thing is, can you imagine if Kunio just had a Hero's Downfall in that match? It would have been a different game.
I mean, Gerard had the negate, right?
He did.
All right, so we do see the Outpost Siege come in for Andrew.
There's Outpost Siege. All right, looks like he's also got a hidden Rabble Master.
Andrew, or rather Gerard, with the Thoughtseize turn 1 to get rid of anything. He's probably got to take Rabble Master, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's like the only immediate threat. I mean, Outpost Siege is also very effective, but I guess a lot of it will just kind of depend on what he draws next. But yeah, if he doesn't have an immediate answer to Rabble Master, then that is likely the card that he takes.
Although, granted, he has a really early Tasigur coming online with the double Wayfinder.
Yeah, so the Rabble Master might just not do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You play the Wayfinder, then you play you're gonna go Wayfinder into Tasigur, and if you look at Andrew's hand, he doesn't actually have a way to kill a big creature.
No, not at all.
So I mean, Gerard might be more scared of what the Outpost Siege can do.
Sure. I took the Rabble Master though. Andrew has a lot of card draw potential, but at the sacrifice of discarding some lands.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Magmatic Insight's not really card advantage. It's only card advantage if you have the Pyromancer's Goggle.
Sure. Land off the top.
There you go.
He's gonna insight.
It could be anything.
Could be a bus. Could be another Foundry.
I feel like Cuneo needed to find a way to add blue to the deck in Treasure Cruise. That's what Raptor's doing. He's playing Magmatic Insight, but with Treasure Cruise. Ooh, Tormenting Voice. It's
shoot. For some reason, I thought Andrew was running Treasure Cruise, so I guess Gerard can't actually tell into the telepath and hit a.
Yeah.
What do you even want to hit if you hit Andrew's? What does Andrew have?
I don't know. He probably didn't bring Feed the Clan. Really? That seems. I don't know. Why would you bring in Feed the Clan? Is this only is he scared that he's gonna get burned out?
If a Goggles resolves, even just a Crackling Doom for 4 damage is a thing.
So he's afraid of taking 4 damage with all the counter magic? Wow. That's interesting.
Does seem a little weird. I didn't think Feed the Clan was coming in, but
yeah, maybe the thought process was, Andrew's deck doesn't do anything. So in order to prevent myself from dying, what's the only way I can die? I guess it's just him randomly burning me out.
Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't have an answer for like an early Monastery Mentor, right? I guess you're going to probably lose to that card anyways, even with Feed the Clan.
The thing is, I was having trouble finding out what cards to cut for like the 3 cards, and somehow Feed the Clan has also found its way into the deck.
Oh.
I mean...
how do you prepare for something like Andrew's deck is a thing, you do?
Yeah, maybe he just has no idea.
He saw a lot of burn. He saw a lot of draw.
To be fair, I think there's a really good shot that Gerard hasn't even looked at Cuneo's deck list.
No, I think he's looked at it. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Gerard's old school.
Sure. Sultai Charm. He's gonna. Oh wait, that's big. I'm sorry. All right. Well, Big Daddy Task coming down.
Yeah, and he's ferocious.
And he's ferocious for his Feed the Clan.
So that's 10 life.
I mean, that's a lot of life.
Yeah. Well, this one's going to get cracked. Well, actually, let's see. Andrew's at 20. He might just play an Outpost Siege here.
Yeah. I could see that.
He's not under that much pressure.
I mean, Gerard's going to have a Treasure Cruise very soon to refill his hand, but...
Yeah.
See what happens. Looks like he is just firing off the crackles. I guess he doesn't want Gerard to get the immediate value if he just uses Tassiger's ability.
He's just playing around the Feed the Clan, obviously. Yeah.
He knew it was coming in. He was like, I can't let him gain that 10.
If he gains 10 life, I just can't win. So, got to play around it.
Yeah. Bad.
Downfall.
Well, he's gonna be sandbagging that, I imagine, for most of the game. When Andrew hits Uginish mana. We got a second Tassiger coming out here. So why is he delving all of his cards away?
Got to leave up Feed the Clan. He's got to leave up Feed the Clan.
Oh my God, he's actually just casting into dagger. This has to be a dagger. I'm sure he's typing something in the chat.
He took 1 damage to do it.
Yeah, he took 1 damage to do it too.
What is he at? Isn't he? He's like at 20 something.
Okay. I don't know.
Just like, still have all these. This is the first time probably in official Wizards coverage where somebody has worn a fish hat. That would just be my guess.
that might be true. That might be accurate. Unfortunately, I don't have that D mode anymore. Rest in peace, Newmont Fish. I mean, how is Andrew beating just these 3 creatures? He needs to draw like another Crackling Doom?
He's got an Outpost Siege. Yeah, he's got plenty of stuff. I'm just
but
just curious what George's gonna go with. I mean, he has no graveyard. He just has to Feed the Clan, so he can't Treasure Cruise.
What is he? Oh, he's activating Task. He wants to Feed the Clan back.
Why is he?
I don't know what's going on.
Huh.
I think Gerard is a step above all of us.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that you might want to at least represent a negate or
anything
along those lines, like a Sultai Charm, and there's not a whole lot of value gained in tapping out that turn.
Oh,
But,
and you know what? Andrew does have one end hostilities in the sideboard, so not repping that's kind of weird.
He could have boarded in, but he can't cast it this turn.
Sure.
Even after casting Tormenting Voice, so he's probably just going to go with the Tormenting Voice here. Another consideration is to sack the Foundry, block both Wayfinders, and try to find a Crackling Doom, and then you just deal with all of his threats. He did not cast.
Oh God! But Gerard draws Bile-Blight. I'm not sure why Bile-Blight came into this match.
Why is Bile-Blight in the deck? I guess it's better than Ultimate Price, right? Because it gets the Foundry.
But we know he has so many sideboard options to bring in.
I know.
Oh yeah. Man, Gerard is just on the complete next level.
I think we are being next leveled. But
I wonder if Gerard's going to end this
game. To be fair, at the same time, he is kind of crushing Andrew, so
Don't have anything to say about this.
Right. Okay, so if Cuneo hits an end hostilities here,
he has to.
Yeah.
He can't even Tormenting Voice into it anymore.
Okay. So let's see. No, I think he's just dead. He's just dead. He can Tormenting Voice, but he can only even if he kills Tasigur, he'll take 3 from the Den Protector and 2 from the Wayfinders. So
yeah.
If he had his own Feed the Clan though, and that should do it.
He won't give up though.
Yeah. I just wanted to at least see one Pyromancer's Goggles activation.
Sure. So if Gerard hits an untapped land, he will end the game at 38 life.
Do you think Gerard's going to cast Feed the Clan?
I definitely think he's going to cast. Oh no, he can't. He doesn't get the Ferocious anymore. No.
There's no way he casts it now.
Man, it's not even worth it.
Wait. What is he doing?
Obviously.
Oh, okay. Why is he casting Feed the Clan?
Because he wants to get it back, the value. Look at his life. It's absurd.
Oh my God. He just gained 4 life.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, he's just trolling at this point.
I don't know if this is representative of what Andrew's deck normally does.
Yeah, and I'm also not exactly sure if this is exactly how Gerard would sideboard for the third game, maybe. Yeah. But he did kind of go deep, and Gerard's got a lot of powerful cards, so he was able to take down Cuneo. Just looking at the matchup on paper, it really just didn't seem like a fair fight. It doesn't really look like Cuneo could do a whole lot there.
Yeah, even given poor draws, he would need to hit very, very well, and Gerard just has all of the answers.
The thing is, Cuneo's deck is pretty much just all in on the Pyromancer's Goggles, and Gerard's got main deck negates, Thought Seizes, and 4 Sultai Charms in the main deck to deal with them.
Sure.
So it's just really hard for Andrew's deck to get going. And even if when he does, what exactly does his deck do? It's just all right, I drew 4 cards. There's just it feels like there's not enough threats maybe, unless his plan is to just burn you out.
Sure, but if he was playing a more aggressive deck, maybe against the Bant Heroic deck Tom Ross was playing, he might have had a better shot or something like that. But
it is true. He is in the Brewers bracket, right? And Tom Ross is in there. So you could. There's a pretty good shot that Tom's going to be bringing
exactly.
Heroic.
You have to play the same deck. Remember, you have to play the same deck against everybody else for the.
Right. So he plays against Tom, so he's going to have a decent matchup there. And then I don't know about, Raptors. I didn't think that there would be 8 Magmatic Insights in one match in the Standard Super League, but there will be. But
we'll have to see how that plays out. That should be fun.
But we do have one more match coming up. And, last but not least,
save the best for last.
Battle of the Cheons. Yeah, and no, my mic no longer beeps.
I got my nice Blameworth shirt on too for this.
Blameworth shirt.
Pinnacle of a moment. It's actually the same. I think the same outfit I'm wearing for the Standard Super League visual on the top there.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I would maybe after you win this invest in more shirts.
Ouch. No, I had to wear it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
This special occasion.
Yeah. Actually, all my channel shirts are dirty because I just got back from Grand Prix San Diego, so.
Where we both had a very, very good time.
Yeah, we both went X3, but
some
only one of us.
Though. Some only people had buys.
Sure, but only one of us was a player to watch for in day 2 of that Grand Prix.
Oh, well, LSB got to get his trolls on.
Oh my God, I can't. They showed it 3 times.
It's the best.
Oh.
They have all these X1s, X2s. Palcheon 3/3.
Yeah. 3/3 drop, and they even got that wrong. I went 2/3 drop.
Yeah, that's right.
They give me the benefit. I got completely destroyed. I didn't even go 3/3 drop. I had 3 buys and I went 2 and 3. So it was pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, oh man, what do you think of the decks in our bracket? Do you like your deck choice?
I think it's going to be good versus Gabby, and I don't know how about the Esper Dragon deck since you and Marshall are both on it.
I guess you'll get a good gauge as to how the matchup plays after today.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, well, it looks like we're going to have to go get ready for the last match. So next time you see us, it'll be in the battlegrounds, me hopefully getting the nuts.
Welcome back to Standard Super League. I'm Randy Bueller, now joined by Gerard Fabiano. Nice job with that win.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, it was a nice feed the clan at the end. I really needed it,
The life was very important, huh?
Yeah. As you can tell, feed the clan is one of my favorite cards. It probably goes something like Ashiok, feed the clan, and then Ashiok again. So I had to make sure I play all of them. So.
Is that card actually good in the matchup against Cuneo, or it's just like you had to bring it in because it's your signature card?
Well, I had to bring it in, but I actually think it's pretty good because it seemed as though he was like trying to burn me out with like the Crackling Dooms. And actually in game 1, I wasn't even attacking with Seder Wayfinders because I was worried that he had the make 2 1/1 guys.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna win with Ashiok, and I decided not to even attack with it. So it was whatever.
Talk to us about your deck choice, because your Sultai kind of got some spicy cards in there, yeah?
Yeah, well, I mean, Cuneo's deck just won the Grand Prix, and I was thinking, all right, well, there's a good chance Cuneo, like, I know for sure Cuneo's not going to play an aggro deck, so I'm like, Sultai Charm's got to be good against Cuneo, and Sultai Charm's good if, like, Tom Ross decided to play Blue-Red Adopters, and that's a deck he could play, and I think Sultai Charm's pretty good against Band Heroic, too, which I thought he might play. And it's just a good card in general. So I think Sultai Control could make a comeback right now because it was good at the early stages of the year. Like in February and March, I crushed a bunch of tournaments with it, and then Jack Fogle won the Grand Prix with it as well. And then it kind of died off, but I think now maybe it's time for Sultai Control again. And I really want to try out Erebos Titan. For the Pro Tour, that was the card I wanted to play so bad. I'm like, I gotta play Erebos Titan, and I practiced with it, but I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So maybe for the Invitational coming up, I'm gonna play this Altai deck.
Oh, how far away is the Invitational?
The Invitational's in 2 weeks, so it's gonna go Detroit this weekend. I'm going to. Then I'm gonna go to Philly for the World Magic Cup / Vintage Championships.
Nice.
And then the following week is the Invitational, so it's pretty soon.
Now, are you playing the World Magic Cup, or are you playing Eternal Weekend stuff?
Okay, so on Saturday I'm going to play the World Magic Cup, and on Sunday I'm going to play the Vintage Champs. So no Legacy Champs for me, because
seems like a good answer.
Yeah, teaming with Mike Sigrist seems good. So,
say that
at least trying to team with Mike Sigrist seems pretty good for the World Magic Cup. So I think America's going to have a good shot this year, regardless of who else is on the team. Yeah,
and that WMCQ is same weekend, same site as Eternal Weekend. So, like you just said, you can choose whether you want to play the Legacy Champs or the WMCQ on Saturday, and then you can play Vintage Champs on Sunday. I'll be there as well. I'll be doing the commentary for.
That's awesome. Yeah, if anybody in the chat has a good Vintage deck, tweet at me, because my Vintage skills I haven't played in about a year. So.
I just won with Snapcaster Mages in the Vintage Super League.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I played a Grixis deck with Cabal Therapies and Snapcaster.
I love Cabal Therapies. Ooh, this sounds good. If you can send me the list, or if the list is out there somewhere, let me know.
Posted to the website. Not that hard to find. But yeah, basically, imagine a Delver list, but instead of Delvers, you're playing Cabal Therapy.
Okay, that seems good.
It was fun. Good. But we're playing Standard today.
I'm excited.
Main event, the last match of Week 1 in this Standard Super League season. Kenji Egashira on the top of your screen. Paul Cheon on the bottom. We'll get the picture switched. Kenji has brought basically the Kibler Green-White Megamorph deck to the table. Paul has brought an Esper Dragons deck that I know he had a lot of success with before Origins came out.
Okay, so who's your pick for this? Is it going to be Paul, or do you think it's going to be Kenji?
I honestly don't know. I mean, Kibler's really good at building green-white decks that actually have good game against control.
Yep. And as you can see, Boonsader is like one of the best cards against control. Also, Collective Company, and it looks like Kenji has both of them in his hand. Although he did mulligan, is that true or no? Or is one card just hiding from us?
Yeah, there's one card hiding. The hand
okay.
So you can see
the card that's hiding is a Valor Stance. So
am I allowed to pick Kenji now that I see he's got a Turtle and Elvish Mystic?
Well, yeah, he's got the Mystic, but he's lacking another land. If he draws a land, he could go into Nissa, and then he could really get the ball rolling. Right. Otherwise, I think. I mean, his hand is still fine if he misses like one time, but if he misses for more than once, I think he might be in trouble.
He's on the draw, so I mean that's a clear keeper on the draw. I would think. Well, what am I asking you about mulligan decisions? What am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to mulligan, but it's actually dangerous that he's on the draw because Paul could have went turn 1 Thoughtseize, like given if he had other. Is that actually a swamp in his hand right there? Okay, so he could have went turn 1 Thoughtseize. So let's see what's going to happen now.
Well, I think he preferred to get the comes into play tap part over with since he didn't have a turn 2 play. Because this sets up, he can play Temple of Enlightenment and he can have Dissolve up on turn 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, given the way Paul played out, so.
Kenji with the message to all of us. YOLO keep.
So if you're Paul, what do you want to take here, Randy?
Wow.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like literally, pretty much any card besides the Valor Stance, I think is a fine card for Chen to take.
I want to take land off the top of his deck. Is what I want to take.
Yeah, that would be nice. That's like my.
Might take Collected Company here.
Maybe I think the top choices are Elvish Mystic, Nissa, Boonsader. He doesn't have any white mana, so he can't play Fleecemane Lion. Valor Stance does pretty much nothing, and Collective Company is still like, I don't know. It is tough because if he draws 1 land, then he has Collective Company because Nissa will get him the other land.
Yeah, that's my point. And that's what Elvish Mystic is tempting because it's the only thing he can do without drawing a land. But I mean, if he draws a land, he's going to get to that Collective Company, and it's going to be awkward to try to leave up Dissolve mana.
Yeah, let's see what the chat says. I like when the chat types crazy. They're like, oh, like the Mystic. And then you see one guy and he's like Valor Stance. And you can't tell if that guy's trolling or not. But yeah, it's definitely a tough decision for.
It is. He goes Mystic.
He took Mystic. Okay.
Totally defensible.
Yeah. I mean, Paul's a great player, so I can see whatever he chooses.
Not a land.
So it looks like his taking the Mystic paid off for at least a turn. Yeah.
Yeah,
And now, yeah, I mean, now Paul's going to be in a great spot where he's going to go, Dissolve or Foul Tongue. I mean, he might just Foul Tongue here, but I think it's better to hold up Dissolve just in case he drew a Plains, which he did actually with the Windswept Heath. But Kenji's probably just going to pass and hold up for Boon Satyr, right?
Yeah, he can count Dissolve mana.
Yeah. So this is definitely a close matchup. I know Kibler went 9-1 with his green-white deck at the Pro Tour, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So he must have played against some control decks, and he probably did reasonably well against it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a ton of Esper Dragons. The control decks tended to be Sultai.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I started off the Pro Tour 5-0, and all around me was either blue-red Thopters or like mono-red Burn. And I always build my decks to like be control, so I was like, man, this is gonna be bad for me.
Yeah, so Paul goes for the against-up Foul Tongue indication because A, he wants to kill Elvish Mystic, and also B, he does not want to just leave his mana unspent. This does give Kenji a window, though, where he can stick a Boon Satyr around Dissolve.
Oh, wow, but Kenji decides to keep the Mystic.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely, but it paid off for Kenji because now Kenji gets to pass the turn with Collective Company. Paul's probably going to have to dissolve it, and then Kenji's going to be free to, untap and play Nissa or do whatever he wants.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think both players so far took a couple of risks, and all their risks paid off so far. So it's definitely a fun match, or at least a fun game.
It's not like Paul's got any source of card advantage here. He's just kind of one-for-oneing. Kenji's going to bleed him out of threats now that he's got mana.
Yeah, I think at this point right now, if there was like, the meter percentage, I think Kenji's probably about 70% to win this game.
You have it at 70. Wow.
Yeah, I honestly do.
Somewhere in the 60-40 range, one way or the other. I wasn't even sure which way.
Oh, okay. Let's see what happens with this. Looks like the Dissolve's going to come up here.
Snap Dissolve. You have no choice.
Yeah.
You have to Dissolve.
But now we're talking. Yeah, we're talking about risk. I could see Paul taking a risk and be like, okay, resolve. Hope you just miss.
Ooh, Den Protector gets down. Or Nissa goes for Nissa.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think it's reasonable for Kenji just to play out the Fleecemane line and just not worry about any type of wrath effect because I think he has to try to pressure. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a good play. I think.
Shion has 2 copies of Languish as his only sweepers in the main deck.
And no Crux of Fate?
0 copies of Crux of Fate.
Wow, okay.
He can sideboard in a couple of Drowns and 1 copy of Crux of Fate, but that's it for sweepers.
Okay. So now Paul has 6 lands, so he's able to have Foul Tongue and Dissolve. But basically, I think for Paul, it's either Ugin or bust right here. Like, he has to survive to get to a point where Ugin's going to be good. Otherwise, I don't think he could really win this game.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting because Kenji has 2 morph creatures in his hand, and both those morph creatures are actually pretty good against Ugin.
Fleecemane and Nissa hit for 5 too. That's going to add up pretty quick.
Kenji didn't want to just ultimate the lion there, monstrous, or you think that's too risky or just not good enough?
I don't want to do that against untapped mana.
No? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, we get to see
Bile Blights and Downfalls. There's too many reasons Paul can have this.
But I mean, him playing a spell like walks into counterspell, so it's both ways is kind of tough.
I like this way better though. I mean, you're just trading card in hand for card in hand. You're still hitting for 3.
Okay.
I mean, play a couple turns where Kenji just plays a card for Paul to counter. Who's going to win?
Yeah, that's true.
Paul's the one who's required to kind of clean up this board.
Yeah, and Paul's on 11, so he's not really too high on life right here.
Is Paul's 11? I count Paul's life total as 7 right here, or at least the important number. 7 lands in play.
Okay.
1 away from Ugin.
Yeah. Well, Paul's going to take more damage this turn. So he's on a 10-8, so he'll be at 4.
And now Kenji does go for the monstrous.
Yeah. I guess Paul has to Foul Tongue maybe to like... Yeah, I think Paul probably has to Foul Tongue.
Does he?
Yeah, just to like save a point of damage, which could buy him a turn if he does draw a removal spell for the Nissa.
It doesn't buy him a turn though, and he might draw a dragon. Like he's going to take 4, 5, 6. He's taking either 6 or 7. If he takes 6, he's still facing down a board with 6 power on it, or with 5 power on it. No, 6 power.
Yeah, yeah, but then he could maybe draw like an ultimate price or some type of removal hero's downfall for the Nissa.
But he can
And
still
then
cast both. Like, he'll have no trouble casting both removal spells next turn if he top decks a removal spell.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, yeah.
I don't think this point of damage matters, and you might draw a dragon to get 4 life by waiting. So I like Paul's line of waiting.
Okay. Well, he
he
draws the land for Ugin, which is pretty good.
Yep.
So he does minus on the Ugin. So now Kenji just needs to squeak in 4 points of damage.
Yeah.
Which might be tough.
Ugin's very, very good.
Yeah.
He's leaving Ugin there as a 3 damage target, figuring, I guess, he's got Valorous Stance and Dramaca's Command.
The Fleecemane Lion, you mean?
Yeah, the Fleecemane Lion, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, but I think Paul's not going to fall for it. I'm pretty sure Paul's just going to -2.
That's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost certain because ticking up Ugin like seems good, but
yeah, he does -2.
Okay, yeah, he does. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, knowing Paul, Paul's not going to make a mistake like that. Ooh, Brimaz. Wow.
4 toughness and 3 converted mana cost.
Yeah, but too bad Paul still has the Foul Tongue in hand.
That's a good point.
So what happens maybe if Kenji just plays the Morph here, holds up Dramoka's Command and Valorous Stance? That's probably the best play. Because what can Paul really do? Paul could tick up Ugin to try to kill the Morph, but then he could either Valorous Stance or and then he could just Valorous Stance it. So but he does nothing?
Wow, he does nothing.
Wow, okay. So he doesn't anticipates on the stack somewhere.
Yeah.
So what's Paul looking for? Like anything really? Like a counterspell or a dragon?
We will pause them. We will be right back.
So what do you think?
Dragon, I would think. I think Paul's best spell.
Yeah, I guess a dragon. I mean, I think Paul's in a pretty good spot. I really think Kenji could have played the Morph that turn. Because if he does play Morph, I mean, it either draws out Paul's Foul Tongue Invocation, or Paul tries to tick up Ugin, and then he could Valorous Stance it, and then he could untap, like maybe play Brimaz, I don't know. But him doing nothing seems like, what's his plan? Is his plan just to try to build up and like draw a collective company and end the turn do something? I'm not really too sure. So it's tough.
Yeah, I like the Valorous Stance line.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. And I'm really impressed with some of the decks that people brought to the table. Particularly Kaneo's deck was probably like the most fun.
Yes.
Okay.
So what just happened? What did we miss? Did we miss anything?
It looks like something happened with something, but not.
Oh, the Brimaz got Thoughtseize. That's what happened.
Brimaz got Thoughtseize, so maybe he anticipated into Thoughtseize.
He anticipated for Thoughtseize.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay, so it looks like Ugin is still on 4. And Paul has his Foul Tongue Invocation. Now, right now, even though at one point Kenji was about 70% to win, I think it's reversed. I think Paul's probably 70% to win here. Although Kenji definitely has some fighting, especially with that Den Protector draw. Probably one of his best draws right here, because he could get back Collective Company, which is just going to be great.
Yep.
But it's going to be tricky because Paul's probably going to try to shoot it with Ugin first, see what Kenji does. If Kenji tries to save it, now Paul could kill it with a Downfall or a Foul Tongue.
Oh no!
Yeah, he can't get back the Collective Company.
Oh,
So-
instead of flipping it, Kenji goes for the save.
Yeah, really, really tough calls here. So someone in the chat asked if you could zero it. No, you can't zero it because it has to have a color. It can't be a colorless creature.
Ugin cannot kill colorless creatures.
Yeah. So that's why Ugin's good with. Yeah, you could -0, just want to do anything. I also saw a pretty cool play. Yeah.
Paul just has to decide which removal spell he wants to use.
Yeah, I think probably Foul Tongue Invocation. Actually, it's tough because Paul might be worried about like an end turn Boon Satyr. So maybe Paul wants to get to a position where he has a dragon in his hand or in play and gain 4 life. But it looks like he's going for the Foul Tongue Invocation.
Down goes Den Protector. All right, now the Megamorph part of Kenji's list is starting to kick in. That's
Yeah.
this Raptor. He's still got the Hidden Dragon Slayer that he's had for a while. Hasn't really had a chance to play.
Okay, so he decides to play it face up. Do you like that better than playing it face down? Maybe bluff like a Den Protector or just have different angles of attack?
I think he wants to put a +1/+1 counter on it with Dramica's command. Get it to
Okay.
4. That's why you play it face up.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely fair.
But again, Paul has the removal spell. So
Yeah.
each of the last 2 turns, Kenji's played a creature with a trick to defend it from Ugin, and then Paul's had a removal spell to kill it.
Oh my god, wow. Dragonlord Ojutai off the top.
Not bad. And Brimaz has been built up enough loyalty now that he can minus to kill the Brimaz.
Yeah. Definitely looking really good for Paul with that dragon. I mean, Ojutai is probably like one of the most powerful creatures, not only in standard, just like ever printed. It's just so good. Like when it hits play, it's just so good.
And more removal spells. Yeah, Ojutai now. Kenji just could not get to this last 4 points.
Yeah,
Basically came down to Paul needed the top deck. He got to 7 lands, and he was playing for Ugin. You know, at 6 lands, he was basically out of gas. He needed to draw lands, maybe 2 of the next 3, but he drew land. And there you go. Ugin is able to stabilize for Paul Cheon. Ugin hangs a game 1 W on the board for Paul Cheon.
Yep. So Cheon's up a game. He's definitely feeling happy about that, especially where it got to a point where it was pretty dicey, where we thought Cheon was probably going to lose. But if you take a look at his deck list, he's got a couple of nice sideboard cards he's going to bring in. I think he's definitely going to bring in the Ultimate Price. He's probably going to bring in the Crux of Fate, just some more creature removal.
Yeah.
Probably the 2 Farika's Cures, because Farika Cure is like a great answer against Boon Satyr. Because Boon Satyr is like a great threat against control decks, but now with Farika's Cure, kill it for 2 mana plus gain 2 life is pretty nice.
Certainly has all the removal he could want.
Yeah.
What does Kenji have in his sideboard? Has he got any plan for the control matchup?
Let's take a look. So he's got 2 Tragic Arrogance, not going to be that great against Paul. Not going to bring that in. Unravel the Aether, probably not. Valor Stance, again, probably not. He has like almost nothing, right?
Yeah, not much. I mean, his main deck is not bad. It's not like he has a bunch of bad cards.
Yeah, but it would be nice if he just had some cards in his sideboard that were dedicated to try to be like a control type strategy. Maybe even just like him going a little bit bigger and something like Elspeth, because Elspeth is actually pretty good against a dragon deck. They could kill the dragon and plus just, have the Planeswalkers are just always good against control. So I like that. Dude, the chat's so funny sometimes. A couple of people are suggesting Asher and Cleric just to go for the beatdown. So, yeah, and to answer the question about the Ugin, you could -0. I was a little, but it wouldn't kill Thopters. It would only kill like Goblin tokens if you did -0. So, nothing. Yeah, it's gotta have a color for Ugin to really do his work. Okay, so Kenji's going to be on the play this game. Last game, Paul was on the play, and Kenji was able to keep a 1-land hand with an Elvish Mystic. His hand this game is strong, but it's slow, right?
Yes.
I mean, he technically has a 2-drop. He's got 3 3-drops. But, like, that 2-drop is one of his only answers to Dragonlord Ojutai. So it's like, do you want to play it out or do you want to hold it? Oh, well, he drew a second one, so that answers the question pretty easily. I mean, regardless, I think he has to play it out, right, Randy? Like, just to try to put some pressure on him?
Yeah, he's fine. It's Goblin Piker, whatever.
Yeah.
Lifeless doesn't really matter in this matchup, but, I mean, a 2-power beater on turn 2 is... I mean, you do what you got to do. I would just face up it there for sure.
So it looks like Paul brought in Jace from the sideboard. and Crux of Fate. So we see 2 of his sideboard cards already in action. That's like the theory that on Magic Online, whatever your sideboard cards are, you draw them. Did you ever hear that theory or no? Or is it just not a real thing?
I'm pretty sure you just remember it when it happens.
Okay.
Is he going to block? No, he's not going to block. I do think it's interesting how Jace has kind of settled into this spot where he starts in the sideboard and he comes in after they take out their creature removal spells for a lot of control decks.
Yep.
You know, the Jace decks at the Pro Tour, a lot of people thought Jace was one of the defining cards coming to the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Just there's all these red decks with all these Searing Bloods running around, and suddenly Jace being in the control decks meant Searing Blood was a good main deck card. It was like red got a new card rotated into the format.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
Jace is hiding in the sideboard waiting for game 2, and you don't see as many red decks around anymore because their Searing Bloods aren't just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I play Jace in the sideboard, but Jace is just an awesome card.
Agreed.
So, yeah, it looks bad for Kenji because he really needed to hit that 3rd land drop. That was a big, turn last turn. Because if he was able to hit his 3rd land drop, he could have played Nissa or played Brimaz and either went aggressive or started building up his mana for a Collective Company. And it looks like this Bile Blight's going to be pretty good here, right?
Oh, jeez. Yes. Paul's got a Bile Blight to kill 2 Hidden Dragon Slayers. He's also got a Crux of Fate for whatever comes out next.
Yeah.
He's got lands. Kenji doesn't.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta get the door. 1 second.
No worries. Kenji kept 1 land game 1, failed to get there. Keeps 2 lands in game 2, and fails to get there. All right. Now turn 4. Is this too late?
I was going to say the other option is that Paul could have just left open Slumguard Scorn and not really cared about the 2/2 ones.
I don't know. I think with Crux of Fate in hand, you don't really need your counterspell now. Like, let Kenji dump his hand onto the board.
Okay, and just save the counterspell for like Collective Company?
Yeah. He can't Collective Company if he starts the turn with 2 mana.
Yeah, that's true.
And even if he does Collective Company, that's again another card that you can sweep away with Crux. I mean, undo, right?
So he's going to have 4 cards in the yard. So Jace is probably going to flip next turn.
Sounds reasonable.
All right, so Nissa gets in. So he'll loot. Let's see what he's going to discard here. He could probably discard the 6 mana dragon. He probably doesn't need it, right?
He has everything. I wouldn't discard the land. I want the land.
Yeah, you definitely need the land. You definitely want the counterspell. You want
can
Crux of Fate.
discard Jace, I guess? Oh, that's a Silumgar Scorn. What am I talking about? Yeah, I discard a dragon.
Yeah, it looks like he might go for the Hero's Downfall. I mean, Hero's Downfall is an option as well, but I like having like an instant speed kill spell because he doesn't have one right now.
Oh, dig through time, just in case we needed more. So now Jace is going to flip. There's dragons, there's sweepers, there's card drawing, and there's counter magic.
Yeah. So I mean, for Kenji to win this game, he's gonna have to get really lucky with the Collective Company. He's gonna have to hit like the 2 best cards he could possibly hit, which I'm not even sure what they are.
Which are the cards that don't die to Crux of Fate?
So it's Boon Satyr and yeah, Warden of the First Tree. See, now Kenji's drawing lands, which he doesn't really want.
Right.
I mean, his 5th land is pretty good here because he could bestow Boon Satyr. So he swings in with everything.
Sure. Jace gets a free block here because he can block and then flip.
Yeah, that's like so good. I mean, Jace is like, it's just so good. It's a 2 mana Planeswalker and it does so much. I think
Question is, do you risk Ojutai in combat?
I think Paul doesn't have to risk Ojutai in combat. I think it's just like
bestowing a Boon Satyr is the thing he's worried about. If he blocks, Kenji has the ability to bestow Boon Satyr at instant speed onto whatever creature Ojutai is fighting, and then kill Ojutai. Paul's on 15.
He's like so high in life that he doesn't really need to. I mean, he could go down to like 6 or 7 or even like 5 against.
We're down to 4 last game.
Yeah, he went to the 4. I mean, 4 is a little dangerous because of Boon Satyr and Collective Company, but for the most part, he's not playing against a deck that plays like Stoke the Flames or a lot of burn spells.
Right.
Kenji's playing no burn spells.
All right, Jace's Planeswalker Spark about to ignite. Lock your Boon Satyr. Draw a card. Kenji's just thinking about whether he wants to bestow Boon Satyr anyway for damage. Maybe.
I mean, what else can he do? He just play Brimaz? Like Brimaz and like maybe pump the Warden or something?
Yeah, I mean, he's just taking this opportunity to think about how he wants to play the next couple of turns. I think it's reasonable for him to just assume Paul does not have a sweeper. Like, he can't beat Crux of Fate. So it's totally reasonable. If you can't beat a Crux of Fate, then just assume your opponent doesn't have Crux of Fate and play to beat the hand that doesn't have a sweeper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lots of times people want to play around so much stuff, and then they end up losing the game because they played around all this stuff. So it often happens limited too, especially when you know the person's deck. Like if it's like a top 8 of a Grand Prix or top 8 of a PTQ, and you share the deck list. Like, oh, I have to play around this like one combat trick, and you keep taking damage. So most of the time, just go for it. That's my best advice, right, Randy? Just go for it. Whatever it is, go for it.
There are plenty of times when it's correct, yeah. People don't go for it often enough. I agree with you. All right. Decides for a Warden pump.
Okay. And it looks like he's going to just run out Brimaz.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad, though, for Kenji right here because of the Crux of Fate.
Yes.
It's just going to be a 4 for, technically a 4 for 1, although Nissa did get some value.
Yeah. Kaboom. Ojutai. No Ojutai tax. Just to rub it in.
Yeah. I mean, Kenji probably has I don't even know, one draw step. I don't even know what it could be really.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul has 3 counter spells in his hand, plus a Planeswalker in play,
and a dig through time,
and a Dragonlord Ojutai, and 6 lands, and still 10 life.
The good news for Kenji is that this is going to be over soon.
Yep. And these guys are the 2 guys that talk the most trash, right? Especially to each other. Yeah, so it's going to sting probably for a while for Kenji. Kenji's going to have to definitely redeem himself because Paul's going to be on his case probably for the entire season. And this is only week 1, so.
I mean, the matchup doesn't seem quite this lopsided. It feels like Kenji's deck kind of had that one of. Yeah, the one of Crux of Fate. Look, you were right to just ignore it, Kenji. I agreed with your line, but sometimes they do have it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kenji played bad at all.
Right. He failed to draw land.
Yeah.
Both games.
Yeah.
And Paul did draw the land he needed in game 1.
Yep. Yeah, game 1 was a bit closer, I would say, because it really came down to that one turn where he needed it for Ugin.
Right.
This game is just kind of just looking at Kenji's hand and looking at Paul's hand. You knew Kenji would be in a rough spot.
Yeah. Kenji gets this matchup again in Marshall's hands. Marshall's also on Esper Dragons, so
okay.
We'll find out if the matchup is this lopsided when Kenji plays Marshall.
Yeah. You know what? I think there's a good chance Gabby could just win her pot here.
I agree with you.
I mean, she's playing goblins. It doesn't look like Paul's going to have a great matchup against her, especially you're telling me he only has 2 Languish, right, in the main deck?
Right.
So it's not like he's flush with a lot of removal spells or sweepers in general. Plus, the Obelisk of Urn is just a really good card against control if you're not playing Sultai Charm. Which,
I hear you.
Only some people do.
Nissa gets to flip here, hypothetically. Kenji's thinking to himself. But no, there's no counter spells where that one came from.
Yeah. I mean, Kenji's on 7 life, so it's just 2 attacks.
You don't get hit by Ojutai that many times and then have your Nissa resolve. That's not how the world works.
Yeah. I think Kenji might be sending another message here.
That one's fault.
I would like to see Kenji just have different T-shirts. Every time he has a message, he takes off one of his T-shirts, and underneath that T-shirt is like a message. Like Moto crashes, it's like Blame Word. It's just like Cheon top decks, nice top decks, stuff like that. Would be pretty good.
All right. Well, the battle for Cheon supremacy goes to Paul Cheon. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean,
he gets to move up the Cheon power rankings at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So we had 6 winners this week and 6 second place finishers. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah, we can put the schedule up and kind of recap where we're at right now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
We have
Well,
6 matches in.
Yeah.
So in the streamers group where these guys are, Paul's got to win and Gabby's got to win. So
Yep.
Paul and Gabby sitting on 1 loss now. What you got to do to make the playoffs, top 2 from each group make the playoffs. So, yeah, that is a 6-person playoff. The specific way it's going to work is that the best 2 group winners will get buys into the playoffs. And we can put the tiebreakers up if people want to
the
make
tiebreakers are awesome. Did you come up with the tiebreakers yourself, Randy?
I did. You like them?
I do, yeah. And the interesting thing is that, like, I'm not sure if it was like the 4th or the 5th one, or maybe it's the 3rd one. It's the lifetime pro points.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the 5th one. And I think in the streamers pod, it goes to Cheon. Cheon's going to have the most pro points. For the pod of death, I think it goes to Paul Rietzel.
Probably.
Is that correct?
Probably.
Yeah, and for my pod,
is it you?
I think it goes to Josh Utter-Layden. I think Josh has more pro points than me, lifetime. Even though I've been playing longer than Josh, Josh is just like crushes like all the pro tours. So I think it's yeah.
Now, to be fair, I took a lot of these tiebreakers. I took a lot of inspiration from the way Star City's doing their end of the year tournament now.
Okay.
So Star City had this, they did groups of 4, which I've always been a big fan of. I do groups of 4 in my Gauntlet of Greatness stream as well. And so I thought that, they were looking at match wins, game losses. I thought they did a pretty good job of sort of setting those in place. So I took a lot of inspiration from what they were doing their end of the year tournament. And then you got to have something that can't tie at the end of the day. Something is got to break the tie. And yeah, lifetime pro points may not be the most fair thing, but it's a thing.
Can you put the 6th one that you have? Because that one I thought was the most awesome one.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the schedule.
Okay.
We can look at where we are. So Paul and Gabby have the wins in the streamer group. Over in your group, it's you and Josh.
Yeah.
So Andrew and Tom have got some work to do at this point. And Paul Rietzel, that red-white prowess deck looked super sweet.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had it listed as heroic, but I agree with you. I think it is just a prowess deck.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling it a prowess deck. I kind of looked at the list last night and assigned names to them, but that is a prowess deck.
Yeah, and I think it's really, a neat design because coming into the Pro Tour and once Magic Origins was released, I think Abbott was on a lot of people's radar for like red decks to kind of shine a bit more because it's kind of like a Snapcaster Mage. It's a cross between Seeker of the Way and Snapcaster Mage built in one card.
Yeah.
So just really good.
Next week, by the way, Paul gets to play Sam is how it's going to work out. So
it's Abzan Aggro, right? Sam's on Abzan Aggro?
Yeah, and Sam was saying he figured Paul is just faster. Sam had to mulligan himself into oblivion this week, so we'll find out. Is he going to be in an 0-2 hole, or maybe Paul's deck isn't actually as ridiculous as it looks today? That, of course, means Brad and Owen will play. In your group, it works out randomly to be